Wednesday. What do they call it? Hump day? If you're not a fan of car insurance or camels, well, don't worry. We're not talking about those things today. I'd like to start this morning's show with a question. How about last night's High Council? Did you guys get a chance to see that? I mean, in my humble opinion, it was a fantastic episode of the High Council. The mundane Matt situation is over. We had him on the show. Everything that needed to be said was said. It was truly a can't-miss event. So, guys, after you listen to Good Morning Pop Culture, get asked to the High Council because you don't want to miss it. But for today's show is going to be a very fun one. We're going to be talking about the Venom trailer, the worst Rob Liefeld drawings, and, of course, our opener, Remaking Star Wars The Last Jedi, and how they underestimate our unlimited power. So, good morning to everyone that is filing in. I'm very happy to be here, very tired, but what the hell? It's Good Morning Pop Culture, and that's what we got to do. We got to talk about pop culture in the morning. So, who do we have in here this morning? By the way, we got a super chat already from Cesario, Japan. Please read Ryan the Boat Builder on Good Morning Pop Culture, Jeff. All right. Well, give me a little bit. We got some things to get through, but I will get to it towards the end of the show. It'll be a lot of fun because today's show is actually packed with a lot of stuff. We're going to be talking about the Venom trailer, and not just the Venom trailer, but we're going to be clearing up some confusion because you know how much I love comic books, how much I wanted to be a comic book artist. You know what? I will be one. We're going to do the Indiegogo. But Venom was attached to Spider-Man, who's my favorite character, and I got a lot to say about the trailer. And no, I'm not going to be ripping on the trailer for 20 straight minutes, surprisingly. I'm going to teach you guys a little bit about who the Venom symbiotes are and where they come from and all that stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You don't want to miss that. So we're slowly waiting to get to that number 200. People are rolling in. We got a good start. Let's see who's here. EVS was in beast mode. He is our POS. Yeah, what is it? It was a good POS. There you go. Thank you, Darth Durkle, the wise ass. I love the smell of pop culture in the morning. I might use that, Alpha Terranema. Working and Lurking is definitely going to get a mug. Guys, I got the machine to make coffee mugs now. So there we go. Morning to you too, Mutali. Maybe you are listening to Pump Up the Jam. Thank you, Cesario, Japan. Yeah, it does look weird without Spider-Man. Star Wars Only video on your Clone Wars video. Oh, cool, I guess. I don't know who the hell Star Wars Only is. Guys, much like the mundane Matt situation, you don't go out looking for internet drama. Because look how quick we took care of the situation last night. There's no war. There's no battle to be had. It's over and done with. And that's the best way to handle things. That way we can focus on our goal, our message of fixing Star Wars, building this community, making it stronger, making it better. That's the game plan. So if somebody made a call-out video about me, awesome. It's just going to bring new subscribers to the channel, and I'm just going to continue to do what I do and entertain you fine people. We are the Fandom Menace. Yeah, we are. I guess that's the official name that you guys want to accept. I'll start using that one solely, the Fandom Menace. Oh, he took his video down. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know he took the video down. Now you're talking about the Star Wars guy, right? I'm just reading these comments. Oh, I'm not saying I'm all of a sudden a mundane Matt fan, but have you noticed I called him a shill in the past, kept him on his feet, which worked. He even talked about that last night. And then that was it. It was a little fun. But guys, Ethan, Jeremy, and I know how much work it takes to build a channel and how to keep it growing. And it's going to be dumb if we just spend all of our time ripping onto somebody. Everything I've said in the past, I stand by. I'm not going to change. None of us are going to change who we are. But we're not going to actively continue to worry about him. We have other things to worry about. Grant Smith Base, I'm doing incredibly well today. Thank you for asking. We'll fight in the sea. You guys are awesome. You guys make me crack up. I'm glad you guys enjoyed his appearance, though, last night and how I handled the situation. I mean, people will come, people will go, and the High Council will always remain. So we're almost to 200 viewers. You're going to laugh about today's topic. We are going to be talking about the Star Wars Remake The Last Jedi movement. CNET has a very tongue-in-cheek article where they're essentially antagonizing the fans. And you're going to like that. You're going to hate it. And while we're waiting, make sure you guys are here tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because we're going to be having our Star Wars Expanded Universe Roundtable discussion. It's as round as Rian Johnson's head. It's going to be a lot of fun having people that, self-proclaimed experts. They've read the books. They know the lore. It's going to be a learning experience for me. It's going to be a learning experience for you guys. And if you have questions or you want to, get involved in the conversation, you know how to contact us. Yeah, we weren't going to scream at him. And thank you, the Grand Inquisitor. I appreciate you being here forever. And Scott, happy hump day to you too, my friend. Glad everyone is happy with Good Morning Pop Culture. We want to keep the fun alive. I mean, this show's going nowhere. Hell, even when I go on vacation, I may do an episode or two of Good Morning Pop Culture. That's how much I enjoy this. Thinking about going to visit Joel in September, and I might just do a live broadcast from his house in the mornings. Who knows? I was Vince McMahon-esque last night. P.T. Barnum even. Well played, old bean. Well, thank you, Von Doofus, for that nice compliment. I love Vince McMahon. That's a businessman / entertainer that I actually respect all of his decisions. I don't like all of his decisions, but I can see where he's coming from. And I ask myself similar questions about that. Say it back, I love you. Oh, sure, I know. All right, folks, well, we have just hit our magical number of 200, and while my Keurig is brewing out a fresh cup of Starbucks Cafe Verona coffee, let's start talking about this morning's main feature, which I did not pull the tab up for, so just 1 second. Because, when you're on air, you got everything worked out just right. Maybe you don't. Right, so here we go. The Remake The Last Jedi crew are still really serious about fixing Star Wars, guys. This is somehow a thing. Now, before I read this on air to you guys, Ivan Ortega has already begun to fix The Last Jedi beyond what anyone could do with remaking it, because Ivan was a fantastic editor. But let's get into this properly. This comes from CNET, written by Claire Riley, no relation to Ben or May. In June, the internet let out a collective chuckle when the self-proclaimed team of producers started a campaign, and don't forget the Twitter account, calling Disney to remake The Last Jedi. The shadowy, elusive, and unnamed person or persons, kind of like the Satoshi Nakamoto of toxic fandom, promised to do the story again and do it right this time, damn it. We laughed, we teased, and then we all realized that Disney, a company that paid $4 billion human dollars to buy the rights to Star Wars, was definitely not going to let this happen. And then, like a million voices that suddenly cried out to tease these guys, we fell silent. But now, Remake The Last Jedi crew are back, and guys, they're still super serious about making the movie, even if they're not exactly pros on the whole concept of crowdfunding and intellectual property. In a press release sent to CNET and posted online, the Remake The Last Jedi producing team reaffirmed their commitment to fixing the product they just plainly didn't like. We are a small team of producers, female and male, that only wish to see our beloved Star Wars franchise come back to life through compelling storytelling. See? Women can be dude bros too. We tried to be clear that we would cover the budget for the remake of The Last Jedi if Disney shared the intellectual property. Come on, they don't want Disney to pay for the movie. They just want Disney to hand over the IP that they spent $4 billion on a group of unnamed people on the internet. This is finddog.gif. I don't know what that is. The fans pledge on our website are to draw attention to the fact that it is not a small minority of racist, misogynistic fans that were disappointed with The Last Jedi, but a majority of fans who have settled in disinterest. Their crowdfunding site, which allows people to pledge money to the film without actually providing payment details or any proof to back up their pledge, is obviously totally legit. Plenty of people have pledged their unicorn money, and I'm not sure none of them are trolling the enterprise in the slightest. Disney is in a difficult position. They've written themselves into a corner and have to make a bold decision to get out of it. It'd probably be all right, I reckon. Personal note, I reckon it's not as all right as they claim. Going back and remaking The Last Jedi is the only way to save the franchise. You would say it's your only hope? We've been right about everything so far, and they're listening. I don't think that word means what you think it means. May the Force be with you, and also with you. So you can tell by their shitty attitude and personality that they're not taking this seriously. And you know what? Neither am I. Do I foresee them remaking The Last Jedi? Not at all. But what does annoy me is how CNET and this Claire Riley person has continued this antagonizing of the fans, no matter what they do. I mean, look at the word choices they use here. Some of them are very, very intentional to try to rile up an angry group of fans. And I say, don't get pissed off. Just know that this is how these people see the fandom menace in general. Maybe the people that listen to the High Council group of channels aren't as extreme as in remaking the film, but we're equally passionate about disliking the bad parts of the movie. So let's see what they said that I thought was stupid. See, women can be dude bros two-part. That implies that only angry white guys dislike The Last Jedi. Well, you have tons of females out there, like that Star Wars girl, what's her face, Jessie Milestone, random game user, Stephanie Janisek. All women all have problems with the new Star Wars film. And they're not just the only ones. Like, I'm not the only guy out there that dislikes the movie. There are millions and millions of people out there that had a problem with this damn movie. Male and female. So let's just nip that in the bud, CNET, that it's only white dude bros that hated the fucking movie. You guys are the problem. Now, obviously, the IP is a problem, and this movie's not going to get made. But just because they think Star Wars fans that dislike this movie are still angry white dude bros is annoying. And it's going to be funny when the fandom menace doesn't show up to Star Wars Episode 9. We show up at the celebration to express our displeasure in a polite and well thought out manner, and to have fun, because that's what life is about, having a good time. And then we don't see the movie. I wonder how CNET is going to handle the situation. Will Claire Riley go, I guess they were right. More than just dude bros didn't like the movie. I mean, the writing's on the wall, guys. This is a very easy thing to foresee. It's not about remaking it. It's about sending a message down the road. Now, I didn't pledge any money. I don't think any of you guys pledged any money. But it's interesting that people have taken it this far. If anything, you take the Ivan Ortega approach. You get somebody who's talented and skilled. You re-edit the film and show how embarrassing Rian Johnson's performance was. Let's see. How do you feel about James Gunn being rehired by Disney? Has he been rehired yet? I'll talk about that in just a moment. You guys can ask me some of those questions. Would you say the XFL is his worst decision? Abomino? Well, it's back, so you never know. Let's see. What else? I didn't get the Jaina Black Series figure. I don't collect EU stuff. I really just buy Han Solo stuff. I'm at a point where even that is kind of a stretch for me to give Disney any of my money. I practice what I preach. Let's see. Remake. Okay, yes, he's rehired. Wait, seriously? Oh, my God. Oh, man. If I could change the title of this video, it would be, they rehired James Gunn. What the hell? I bought the Zahn stuff at Half Price Bookstore for $1 each yesterday. Better than the Disney stuff any day of the week. Haven't even read it, but I know it's better. I have, like I said, some of the Thrawn trilogy and some other Zahn books here. Who's Mud Shark Matt? I don't know who Mud Shark Matt is. I'm so glad you guys are in a good mood this morning. I think the High Council really started this week off properly. And we're going to continue to ride that wave of fun. I'm looking up the news. My phone is an old piece of crap, so I'll give that a second to actually do that. Logan Michael collects Star Wars toys from 1977 to 2012. Excellent choice. You have 78 technically, but those are excellent choices, Logan Michael. I know I've seen the Mundane Matt video, Silent Chronicler. Like I said, this channel has always been about bringing to task people in the entertainment field. Like, I have no regrets about making our John Campia video. I wish more people watched it. Only about 100,000 people saw it. I feel like 1 million people needed to see the John Campia video, because John Campia is part of a bigger problem. Not just John Campia, but all kinds of shills out there from Collider or Screen Junkies or anything like that. But I've seen the Mundane Matt videos, but I'm not going to go make a series of videos calling him to task. The next person that I'm going to call to task is Simon Pegg, and I'm going to be working on that through today, and that should be out this afternoon, this evening type of deal. So, like I said, we're going to steer clear of internet drama and keep it fun for my sanity, for your entertainment. You don't want to get direct. You just don't want hatred on this channel. We can talk about the Sith and how we hate Disney, Star Wars, and stuff like that, but I think that's about as far as I'm going to take it. And yes, I've seen his take on a lot of stuff. Thank you, Edward, for enjoying the... So, here we go. There's no news on James Gunn being rehired. He was married to Jenna Fisher? Is that who I think it is? Yeah, good for him. I didn't realize he was married to her. He's also divorced from her for a decade, so it couldn't have been that great. My point is, James Gunn has not been officially hired according to Google. There's no news. If he's rehired, though, it is hypocrisy, and there's a problem if they bring him back, because do they hire Roseanne back because she committed the same offense? You know what I'm saying? I think James Gunn's firing was an internal balancing of the scales, like I said on yesterday's show. We are better than the other places. A lot of people saying they won't see Guardians 3 if he's hired back. That's what we were talking about last night on the Hyatt Council. I'm more interested to see how the film suffers financially from this James Gunn clusterfuck. That's the thing I'm curious about. And how will this affect the MCU going forward? Even if they make Guardians 3 with Taika Waititi or whatever his name is, or another director like an Edgar Wright, I think Edgar Wright could do a damn good job with Guardians of the Galaxy. You could update the music. It would be Baby Driver in space. And I know some people don't like that, but I do. I really love Baby Driver. Second favorite movie of last year, right behind It. I believe that's what I said. You don't have to apologize, Johnny Five. See, I'm glad that you guys give me this information because it keeps me on my toes. I'm sitting here preparing a show talking about how CNET's a bunch of pompous assholes and how the Venom movie isn't what you think it's going to be type of thing. But you guys bring me the information about James Gunn, so I appreciate that. No matter what. I'm always thankful for that. Oh, don't worry, Von Doofus. We have the bad comic art segment coming today. Actually, it's much better than it was yesterday. One of our fans and listeners sent in a Rob Liefeld 40 Worst Drawing article, which I had read years ago, and I forgot about it. So we're going to go through a couple of those. We're going to have some fun. And good morning to everyone that's just rolling in. We're almost to 300 viewers now, which is awesome. But I looked up the James Gunn situation, and there's a LA Times article titled James Gunn's Vulgar Tweets Reveals the Power of Social Media to Force Hollywood Vigilance. James Gunn runs on Quicksilver creativity that Hollywood craves. His Guardians of the Galaxy films were wild rides of clever asides, many delivered by gun-toting raccoons and trees, that were innocent enough for children and sly enough for parents. The franchise reimagined intergalactic hijinks and grossed more than $1.6 billion for Disney. But the director now finds himself careening through a more perilous universe, a post-#MeToo era in which social media propels vigilance and vindictive campaigns against celebrities, politicians, and CEOs. The cultural shift against sexual and racial infractions has been swift and resounding, especially in Hollywood, where permissiveness has been celebrated for generations. Once indulgent of major talent, studios and corporations are reacting to blunt social media storms swiftly and radically. ABC fired Roseanne Barr in May after a racial tweet about Valerie Jarrett, a former advisor to President Obama. Paramount Pictures recently axed television president Amy Powell after she allegedly made offensive comments about a black woman during a conference call. And days after that, Gunn tweeted a decade ago about rape and pedophilia resurfaced. Disney fired him from the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise. There's a spotlight brighter than anything we ever have seen, said Daryl D. Miller, an entertainment attorney in Los Angeles, and a partner at Fox Rothschild. We're in an era where doing better now is not good enough. We're in an era of accountability for past conduct. This article is fairly long, so I'm not going to go too much into that because you guys want Ryan the Boatmaker. But that kind of I mean, there's no defending anything, but it's this. Oh, shit. Well, okay, sorry. Google has a different thing now on here. But we're in an era of accountability for past conduct. How far back do you go? How extreme do you make it? That'd be like banning the old James Bond films because what was acceptable then isn't acceptable now, and you do those films suffer. We talked about Pierce Brosnan yesterday and his stance and how he doesn't think this Me Too movement will hurt 007, which I'm on Pierce Brosnan's side about a lot of things, that being one of them. But this James Gunn situation is slippery, and I'm just going to ride it out and see what happens. Guardians of the Galaxy, I enjoy. I've always enjoyed number 2. 1, I've come to like a lot more than I used to. They're fun movies, but I'm not going to let whatever he does in real life alter. I'm not going to let those movies alter what he's done or hasn't done in real life. We'll find out more down the road. That I think the wait and see approach is the best way to take the whole James Gunn situation. But I will be talking about it if anything major comes up, especially if some of the cast rebel and refuse to come back, even if they're in breach of contract. I think Batista will be the one I think to go first. Dave Batista used to be a wrestler that I've watched. He seems to be a little more emotional. He'll just go off the cuff and do whatever he's got to do, what he feels is right at the moment, and he'll suffer the consequences later. But one thing about Batista, he had a really, really great wrestling career, and he can just go back to the WWE and make a couple $1 million and retire and do what he's got to do. But he's also known as a big spender. Chris Pratt, the guy's Teflon. He's untouchable. He's got so much goodwill with the community. All celebrities love Chris Pratt. Most fans love Chris Pratt. He just seems like a very nice, well-liked guy, like a Paul Rudd. Not a lot of people talk shit about the guy. They're very positive when they speak about Chris Pratt. Hell, I am too. And I've never even seen Parks and Rec or half the shit he's been on. And then the rest of the crew's fine too. Bradley Cooper's an A-list actor. He's fine. Vin Diesel's got his Fast and the Furious franchise. He's fine. Zoe Saldana probably has the most to lose, even over Karen Gillan, who had been on Doctor Who could go to conventions through the end of time and just milk the Amy Pond thing or come back or do whatever the hell they're going to do. So it'll be interesting, to say the least. Let's see. What if Star Wars or Disney acquires Star Trek? Ugh. Well, doesn't Viacom own that? And Viacom's too big for Disney to acquire. That would truly make them a monopoly. Yes, Sire J. Longstroke, you're right. So, what did Timothy Zahn say about the fans? I think you guys, if you guys will message me that over on the Facebook page or something, we can talk about that tonight, because during our EE discussion, we're going to be talking about Timothy Zahn, and it's going to be kind of crazy. In a good way. I'm interested to see what he has to say. I'm sorry if you were about to get some sleep. I got some sleep, some being the operative word in that sentence, but I'm here. I am here. I'm not going to get the Disney streaming service. The only way I would keep it or have it is if Hulu was already to become the Disney streaming service, because I'm really happy with Hulu and what's on there. Now, if they change Hulu and it's just all Disney shit and they get rid of the movies and stuff I care about, then I'm gone. Wow. Those are some harsh words from Tommy Wiseau. Why am I up so early? Interstellar Overdrive. I host Good Morning Pop Culture every day of the week. Well, not Mondays. Tuesday through Friday, we're here. We talk about entertainment. We have a lot of fun. It's about to get a lot more fun when we start talking about this Venom trailer. That's the thing I'm most excited to talk about. But the Remaking The Last Jedi, it really just rubbed me the wrong way. I was really happy. I was listening to music. I was ready to go. And then I saw this, and it just put a bad taste in my mouth. I'm so tired of being antagonized by these self-righteous, holier-than-thou douchebags that don't have a voice. It's like, oh, I'm just going to make fun of them because that's what people in my circle do. No. No. Have you guys not heard about the Remaking The Last Jedi campaign? That's a couple months. Man, time flies. It's August. Holy shit. Point put that aside, that was back in, I guess, what, May or June that they were talking about doing this. And for a while, a lot of people were like, oh my God, they're remaking The Last Jedi. It's going to happen. It's always a joke. But now they're just kind of taking us to task. I guess I'm reading between the lines too much in this Remaking The Last Jedi. I think, guys, the fandom menace really does have unlimited power. We have unlimited spending power. We have unlimited influence. And I will say, as one of the, the high council guys, we always want you to use your powers for good. In our case, good means, boycott episode 9 and let them know that the last couple of years won't be forgiven just because Lando, Luke, and Leia are in the same movie. Han, Luke, and Leia are in the same movie, and you fucked that one up royally. Once Disney and Fox merges, I think the franchises that will be ruined, let's see. We'll never see another Die Hard, which is good, I guess, because the 5th one was shitty. X-Men will be the first thing ruined. Now, I'm not saying the X-Men is perfect the way it is, but you're definitely not going to see the X-Men storyline continue. We covered last week that there's a rumor that X-Men Phoenix as well as New Mutants have been canceled. And we were talking about that. That's the kind of shit Disney will pull to remake it in their image. And their image is not necessarily good. The MCU's on a decline. The MCU, it will be interesting if James Gunn tweets with like the first piece of the Jenga puzzle that are pulled out, and now the MCU is starting to wobble a little bit. Like there haven't even been a misstep in the MCU yet. There have been like you jumped over a pothole, like the Terrence Howard thing. Well, you got Don Cheadle, and he's still here, and people like him, so we're stronger. Oh, yeah. What else happened in the MCU? Joss Whedon left. That's okay. We got the Russo brothers to finish out, which is arguably the best Marvel movie. So they've avoided a lot of bullets. But the James Gunn situation is the first. No, I'll say it's the second one. The first was the preachiness of Black Panther's marketing that turned off. Okay, let me rephrase that. It's not the preachiness of the marketing. It's the preachiness of the media about Black Panther that turned off a lot of people. The movie was fine. You probably missed out on a decent experience, but the way they marketed it and the way it was received by the media turned off a lot of people. That was the first piece. Then Brie Larson's dickish attitude. That's the second piece. Now, James Gunn, it's two pieces. It's a bigger problem. So 2018 may have been a fantastic year in terms of the box office for Marvel, in terms of Black Panther making $1 billion, Infinity War doing $2 billion, and Ant-Man making its budget back. But the cracks have begun to widen a little bit. And this thing could fall apart at any moment because a lot of people are like, I've had a good run. 20 movies are enough. Okay, maybe that's your stance. Me, I could watch 20 more movies if they were all good. But we've seen what's happened with Star Wars. We saw Ghostbusters. We saw best case scenario, we'll have an Ocean's 8 where people talk about it. It comes and it goes so fast that no one even thinks about it anymore. Like, have you thought about Ocean's 8 lately? I haven't. That movie was very much mired in controversy. Nothing came of it, and nothing will come of it. It's over and done with. It'll come out on Blu-ray probably in September. It'll hit Black Friday for $3.99. People will buy it. People will watch it, and that's the end of it. Because they didn't attack a beloved franchise like a Ghostbusters, and they didn't constantly attack the fans the same way they did with Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is a case study in poor consumer relations. And I'll say consumer relations, not just fan relations, because like I said, we hold all that spending power, guys. Ghostbusters was a flop. There's a rumor, according to someone in the chat, that they might be making a sequel. Guys, they've been rumoring to remake all kinds of movies or have sequels to all kinds of things. I mean, there's Ghostbusters in Hell, which was rumored to be made for like a decade. There were rumors about another Bill and Ted movie that either confirmed or not confirmed. There's a rumor of an unmade Sean Connery James Bond flick. There are all kinds of rumors out there swirling around the toilet. Ghostbusters will never happen. But to jump back to the Marvel thing, the cracks are showing, and it's interesting to say the least that this could be the end. Not saying it is, but it could be. You never know. What was it, like Al Capone? They got him on tax evasion or tax fraud after all the other shit he got away with. Imagine if the MCU built up all this goodwill and it died because of a couple tweets and some dickhead director and dickhead actors. Yes, I agree. Captain Marvel will suck. Captain Marvel, Shazam will be better. I'm actually excited for that movie. DC did something new and fresh with that trailer, and I'll be there opening night to discuss it, one, for the channel, and two, because I want to be there. I want to have fun at these movies. We talk about some of the less savory parts of entertainment, but damn it, we enjoy. Like, I love going to the theater and laughing and being in awe of, action and spectacle and stuff like that. Doesn't happen too much these days. Mission Impossible was damn good. But before that, I saw Ant-Man, which was a letdown. And before that, Solo, and that was a massive letdown. Sorry, Bill and Ted's Soul and Prostate caught me off guard. People were talking about the Orville in the chat. The Orville, I don't know exactly how. Some shows are produced at certain studios and then broadcast on other channels. Like, one show I watched was made at Sony, but it was on Fox, I think. Or some shows are made by Paramount and on other. I don't know exactly how the Orville works, but I would bet that the Orville will be fine because Seth MacFarlane is successful, even if I don't like everything he does. Hell, I haven't liked Family Guy in 10 years. Before that, I thought it was incredible. The Simpsons hasn't been that good in a long time either. I foresee The Simpsons going away. Have you guys heard about Bongo Comics, the people that publish The Simpsons and Futurama books? They're done after the next Futurama annual and whatever issue of The Simpsons. It's been out since, the 90s when Simpsons debuted 89. But my point is they've been around for almost as long as these shows have been. And those are over. Could The Simpsons and Futurama, well, Futurama's over, but could The Simpsons be over? I think so. I think what are they on, season 30? They'll round it out with season 30, and that's it. And that's all she wrote. The show will come to streaming. They'll make their money that way. They'll release more merchandise, which is fine. The Simpsons are a huge part of popular culture that should be respected. And that's it for The Simpsons. Now, Family Guy and all the Seth MacFarlane properties are more interesting to me because they're newer, and I think more people watch those. The Orville seemed to be widely loved. They would be stupid to cancel that. And if they do not want to show the Orville, what I think will happen is it'll go to Hulu or it'll go to Netflix or something. The Orville will live because Star Trek is popular enough that a parody will be, viable. The Orville will live, guys. I wouldn't worry too much about the Orville. I'm more interested to see how It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia goes because that show does not fit with any corporate structure of Disney. Season 13 comes out in September, so I say that's it. The show should have ended already, but I say we're done with that show too. You don't like MacFarlane, but you love the Orville. Count Dukem Nukem, welcome back, and thank you for everything you did last night for the channel. The Orville is more Star Trek than Star Trek Discovery. Only episode I'd skip is Cupid's Dagger. Well, thank you for your super chat. I have not watched any of the Orville. I watched the first couple minutes when it is, well, I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys in case you haven't seen it. Just go check it out. But it's something I would want to watch. It's something that I'd want to watch all the way through. Sell off the IPs that are... But Cupid's Daughter, I guess I'll just watch them all. I'm not going to watch any of Star Trek Discovery. I've watched Midnight's Edge coverage of Star Trek Discovery as well as Doomcock stuff. Doomcock is the expert on Star Trek. I like the show. I like the original series. We could have a discussion about who's cooler, Spock or Captain Kirk, stuff like that. But you're never going to have like a real deep Star Trek conversation with me because, growing up as a kid, Star Trek was considered the lame property. Star Wars was barely better, but still cooler. So I'm operating off of that 90s vibe still from how these series are perceived. But I'm not knocking Star Trek, put it like that. American Trent 007, you haven't missed too much. All we did is talk about the Remaking The Last Jedi and how CNET's taken the piss out of the whole situation, but they still think that it's a bunch of angry man babies that are angry with The Last Jedi. But yeah, Discovery isn't very good. I'm not going to watch it at all. Watch Doomcock for all the expertise in that. Dub Shiesty says, Jeff, ask Ivan Ortega to fix the WWE writing. Well, first off, Dub Shiesty, thank you very much for your super chat. I can ask. I could pitch in too. I have some ideas for SummerSlam. Ivan and I will talk off air, I promise. We'll get Jeremy in on that one too, and all the other bullshitters. Zaire, welcome back. Thank you for your super chat. With the MCU failing, do you think Sony's Marvel and DCEU will rise to take its place in pop culture? Good question. We'll talk about Sony stuff more next. I don't think so. Worst case scenario, MCU kind of flops if it does. It's worst case scenario. I'm not saying it. I don't foresee it truly getting this bad, but let's play Doomsday, Prophesizer. Worst case scenario, MCU flops. Spider-Man is a Sony thing still, so we still get our Spider-Man flicks. DC has one last chance to fix the public perception. The benefit of Superman and Batman being beloved popular culture characters, that benefit is the fact that people can go back and look at other versions and still love the shows or the movies. Batman the Animated Series is going to do gangbusters on Blu-ray. People are going to line up for that shit. Hell, I lined up for it already, and I'm going to get that Amazon discount. It went down 10%. So I'm excited by that. But my point is, DC's got one more chance. If Shazam and Aquaman do well, both critically and financially, not even critically, but just financially, what will happen is we'll see a continuation of the DCEU with an odd, soft reboot of Matt Reeves' Batman, maybe a Flashpoint Paradox, stuff like that. That's what I'm hoping happens. They could continue this if the next bunch of movies are good. Like James Bond films. There were good ones, there were bad ones, but when there was a bad one, they moved on to another one, and they tried to fix it instantly. Like The Man with the Golden Gun is considered one of the worst James Bond flicks. I hate it. But the next one was The Spy Who Loved Me, which is considered one of the all-time greats. So instead of these constant reboots like a Sony or a weaker company would do, I think it would benefit Warner Brothers and the DC universe to just push forward past the bad one and make something great. Focus on something better down the line. People will forget, and if you blow them away with something, people aren't going to say, this movie's great, but fuck everything because Part 2 was terrible or BVS was terrible. BVS was terrible. Man of Steel's bad. Suicide Squad's fucking terrible. Justice League was just okay. And Wonder Woman was good. So we're already at that point. So because the other two were terrible, but the other two were good or just okay, I'm willing to go forward. I think a lot of people are willing to go forward, and I think it would be smart if that was the case. Because comic book heroes are never going to go away. It's the American, one of the great American art forms. Comic books, jazz, stuff like that. People will always grow up with superheroes in stretchy costumes. DC should just play on everyone's love of those characters, not focus on getting a dickhead director like a Zack Snyder who wants to come in and be cool and hip and make it dark and edgy like for teenagers. No. Get a Richard Donner, get something that speaks to people on emotional levels, entertains them, and come in and blow people away. DC has the characters, but they're just doing it wrong. So maybe they could take Marvel's place. If Marvel messes up while the interest in these properties are high, then DC can do it. And if they do all those other things that I think they should do. So let's see who popped up. The NVSK, welcome back. I'm with you, Jeff. No remakes. The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi need to stand as moments of failed stories, failed direction, and failed customer relations. Thank you, the NVSK. Remember, folks, I always talk about these studies in school, these case studies. These Star Wars movies need to be remembered as that. Remember how we look back on movies like Reefer Madness and how hokey and dumb they are? Well, we'll look back at Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi and how dumb they were and how bad we were treated. We're part of history, folks, in that regard. I'm interested to see 20 years from now how we look back on it. Will there be something else that comes out that is just as bad or worse? A lot of people hated the prequels for years, and now I have a softer stance. My stance softened on the prequels around 2005 when the Revenge of the Sith came out, because that was a good prequel in my opinion. And then the Clone Wars 03 series fleshed out the other stuff, and then the 08 series fleshed it out even more. So Lucas did kind of fix, maybe the movies are rough and bad, but the lore that they created was fleshed out and made better by other people. Hell, I'll even say made great. Both Clone Wars series are excellent. I don't have any fault with the animated one at all. I could watch that once a week and be entertained the entire time. And then the '08 show is a little longer, so I can't think of every episode in the back of my mind. But this Disney Star Wars era, everything they produced has fucking sucked. With Rogue One's just okay. Force for Diversity cartoon. The toys are bad. Everything's bad. The NVSK, I know you'll remember. I'll remember. Pepperidge Farm will remember. Everyone's going to remember all this shit. And there are a lot of people in the chat this morning. Thank you to everyone who is sticking with us for Good Morning Pop Culture. Who do I think is worse, Rian Johnson or Zack Snyder as a director? As a director, Rian Johnson, because Zack Snyder has made a movie that I like a lot, Dawn of the Dead, 2004. Watchmen's pretty good, not great. I don't have any problems with it. And then I find Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and technically Justice League far less offensive than I do find Star Wars The Last Jedi. Yeah, maybe Joss Whedon came in and fixed some stuff. We'll never know. Well, maybe you can pick it apart. But maybe Zack Snyder has made bad creative decisions, but he's not as antagonistic as Rian Johnson. The Revicus 2790. How long till Hollywood drops the SJW fad? Well, I think we're in the middle of it right now. I mean, I've only been aware of the phrase SJW for what, a year and a half, 2 years? These things have like a 3 to 4 year life cycle. And then something's going to come out that's going to be very anti-SJW, or it doesn't, it may not even be anti-SJW. It may just be, it doesn't play into the political correctness that the SJWs desire. It'll make a bunch of money, and we'll be out of that slowly. So maybe like world-class bullshitters will make something that captures people's imaginations, and they'll be like, well, watching every word we say and not stepping on any toes just doesn't bring in the bucks anymore, because people are people. Your average everyday American doesn't give a shit about these SJW politics. A lot of people just say these movies are different or weird, and they won't be able to see why they're different or weird, and hopefully they find us to help them break it down. DX reference. But I say the fad ends by 2020, maybe 2021 at the latest. It all depends on the direction that the country and the world is going towards. I'm not going to get political, but remember, a lot of entertainment is very reflective of the era that it's made in. The 80s was a tumultuous time. We were always at the threat of war with the Cold War and the Russians and stuff like that. So a lot of movies were made that reflected that. Now we're not really in a situation like that. We have a lot of self-made problems. So that's why entertainment reflects the way it does. And they've tried to infuse that into escapist entertainment, like a Star Wars, like a future Marvel flick, and it's failing miserably. So they'll learn the hard way that SJW entertainment is not entertainment. Keep that shit on Tumblr, keep that shit on Facebook and Twitter and all those other little internet places that cost no money, that have no entry fee. But when people pay their hard-earned bucks, don't bombard them with garbage. Give them what they want. Leave them. Make them go home happy. And if you don't want to make them go home happy, make them go home intrigued to come back so they can go home happy the next time, a la Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi. Yeah, 300. People don't like it. People do like it. I don't like 300 that much. I saw it in theaters. I don't really see much of a story there. So I'm not going to... I went to Michigan State, okay? The Spartans. They played that movie on TV all the time because I started in 2007 when it came out. And at the football games, they would play the This Is Sparta thing where the guys are falling off the mountain. Well, even though that's not the same line, they would play that and that together, and that would get the crowd riled up. I was never a 300 fan. Now, I like the comic 300, which is literally within arm's reach of me right now. It's right next to The Art of Spider-Man Classics and coloring drawing books. So, not a fan of that, but I do like the idea behind it. The NVSK. Jeff, what did you think of Equalizer 1 and 2? I didn't see 2, and I think I saw 1. I don't remember NVSK. I know that I wanted to see part 2, but with the channel and stuff, I've been kind of busy. I go out and see the John Wick movies, and I wanted to see Death Wish. I want to go support financially these smaller budget action films so they make more, because, yeah, Jack Reacher 2 sucked, but I liked part 1. I loved both John Wick's films. I like Denzel Washington and Bruce Willis as actors and action stars. The old man action film is a genre, and I enjoy it and I appreciate it. I'm also looking forward to a younger guy coming in and making an action film. The Rock could have been the next great action star. Now he's just the next star. He kind of goes through all that. So maybe it worked out in his favor in the long run. But NVSK, I can't talk about 2, and I don't remember 1. I remember Man on Fire, and I love Man on Fire. That movie was awesome. So that's the best I can give you as of now. And I remember John Q. So let's see who's popping up here. Laura Ryan stole my fan fiction story. Welcome to the show this morning, Laura. Thanks for getting up early after last night's High Council. When the millennials hit their 30s, it stops. Well, I guess technically I'm a millennial because I was born in 88, and I'll be 30 in 2 months and 20 days. So hopefully the minute I turn 30, all this SJW garbage stops. Or maybe I'll start getting a Social Security check and telling kids to get off my lawn. It's one of the two. Let's hope it's the former, not the latter. The High Recluse Art Grimaldus. Good morning, Jeff. Speaking of Cold War era movies, thoughts on Red Dawn? I like it. I like the Wolverines. Remake, not so much. Don't hate the remake. I think they should have stuck with their guns and made it the Chinese instead of the Koreans, but hey, who am I to worry about artistic preservation? But the first one's cool. It's a nice 80s classic. I'm a sucker. I have a soft spot for old 80s flicks, even if they're they're inconceivable in terms of concept. I still enjoy those movies, and I enjoy Red Dawn. Red Dawn to me is a lot like Real Genius and stuff like that, where they just over exaggerate these things, but they're fun and they stand the test of time because how zany and funny and memorable they are. That's what we kind of need, some zany, funny, memorable movies, not worried about grounded in realism. The Dark Knight ruined that for 5 years of superhero flicks. Let's not let Star Wars and its overly political garbage ruin that for action and sci-fi for another 5 years. Yes, Bonobi, the Harrison Ford kidnap comic doesn't really, the working title is either like Kidnapping Mr. Ford or something like that. I got a cover concept that I've been working on. It doesn't take me too long to draw. So like when I sit down to do this, it's going to take months with the channel and juggling that and the website and stuff, but it'll be put it like this. I will give you guys weekly updates through the show. I'll do a weekly update video. Anyone who backs it will definitely be in the know the entire time. And I can't wait to tell this story. End goal, ultimately, make a boatload of money and get the rights of this movie made, or get this movie made. Real Harrison Ford before he dies. How crazy would that be? We spend all this time talking about Star Wars. We make a story about it, and then the final thing Harrison Ford does is appear in the movie. My life would be complete. We had another one from Logan Michael. Thank you, Logan Michael. Always good to see you, my friend. 2 more waves of Mego confirmed. I saw the Peg Bundy. If there is an Al Bundy figure, if there's a series of Married with Children people, I'm going to buy them. That show was fantastic. We need an Al. I would love to see somebody bring back Al Bundy and his family, but not change it to modern entertainment. Like they were doing that with Roseanne. Then the shit with Twitter came out and kind of killed that. But Al Bundy was a man of his time. And I think we could use an Al Bundy today, especially his damn jokes. That shit was savage. I watch those burn clips online all the time when I need a laugh. The way he treats those people in the shoe store, incredible. The Rock wasted his career potential. I think he definitely redeemed himself years ago when he accepted wrestling and opened himself up to, I'm a wrestler, I'm an actor, I've done all these things. He's changed his tune. Once he got right with Jesus, in quotation marks, and I mean the fans and everybody that's ever supported him or been a fan, his career has taken off. Maybe all of his movies aren't great, but he's the highest paid actor of all time, I believe. So I think he's fixed himself. Insanity Methods, thank you for your super chat. I'd love to see a film class cover Star Wars and what went wrong with the sequels. I would too. Insanity Methods, I took a class in college, German film study, just so I could watch Indiana Jones in class and get a grade on it. Got an A on that paper. Got an A in the class. I was a good German student, even though I completely forgot everything. But I would sign up for a Star Wars film class to see what went wrong with the sequels. Now, remember, this is college and this is modern setting, so they're going to say everything that's right, and they'll probably spin the whole SJW narrative in a college. Believe me, I had one of those teachers, and I pushed back constantly against that woman. And even when I wrote papers that were very, very good, wasn't good enough for an A, so I always got a B. But you know what? I spoke my mind. I held my ground, and I don't regret a single thing. Was my Beverly Hills Cop paper an A plus? In my mind, yes. It probably would have been an A to any other teacher, but because she didn't like me, well, I had to pay that price. But the TA was kick-ass, and he works at comic book conventions, and he looks like the dude from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the one that has no powers. Michigan sucks, go Buckeyes. Hey, I'm not a football fan of any team, so don't worry. Never underestimate The Rock. Hello and good morning. Hello and good morning to you. Do I think Tony Scott has more misses than hits? I'd have to look at his filmography. Remember, he did Top Gun, which was a huge hit. Beverly Hills, which is a personal favorite and a big hit. I believe on the Laserdisc that I just bought, it says the #1 hit of 1987. So if that's the case, I can't call that movie a failure in any regards. But I'd have to look at everything he's ever done. Possibly. I'm Gen X, not a millennial. Okay, cool. I'll take. Let's see. I didn't see the roast of Bruce Willis. Count Dukem Nukem says, hopes and expectations for Terminator 6? Excellent question. I love talking about Terminator. I've been having this weird desire to watch Terminator 1 and 2 live on the channel with you guys to break down, have some really interesting discussions about that. Terminator 6, hopes and expectations. I hope it's good. The last two were terrible. Now, Terminator could do what I was talking about earlier with the Marvel and Warner Brothers thing, where they get past the bad sequels, and in bad sequels, it's been 26 years of bad sequels, and they make Terminator 6. You got to do something new and fresh. At the same time, you got to bring back the spirit of the Terminator movies that everyone loves, 1 and 2. And you know what? In the chat right now, press 1 or 2 and tell me what your favorite Terminator flick is, 1 or 2. Easy as that. But my hopes are that it's good, and I expect it to be average at best. Tim Miller did a great job with the first Deadpool, excuse me. And James Cameron's back. Hopefully James Cameron is interested enough in this movie and not focused on his stupid Avatar sequel 28. Like, no one gives a shit about Avatar. People didn't give a shit about Avatar back in the day outside of its 3D spectacle, guys. That was it. That was the whole appeal of Avatar. The story was a retread of 15 other stories you've seen. In many ways, it's as original as Star Wars The Last Jedi. The Force Awakens. But I expect it to just be okay at best. Arnold can't really act as well as he used to. If anything, he was never a great actor, but he was what he was, and he got older, and he just isn't that anymore. Linda Hamilton, we haven't seen her in a long time. She's the appeal to me in this movie. Sarah Connor, shitty mother, but I'm interested to see where it goes. Do we have any information on John Connor? Did they get Edward Furlong? It would be interesting if he cleaned himself up for this role and then his life got back on track. I love a good redemption story. Robert Downey Jr., Mel Gibson, all those. Let's have Edward Furlong be the next one. But those are my expectations. Not too high, and but my hopes, I want a good movie, guys. The High Recluse Archimaldus says, you and me both, man. I was born in 92. It's interesting to see the age range of the people that listen to this show. We have younger listeners. We have much older listeners like Brian Late, Channel Dad. But we'll see, guys. We'll see what happens when everyone hits their 30s. The best part about all this, and I don't mean to sound cold-blooded, is a lot of these crazy SJW people don't seem to have kids, so at least reason will prevail in the future. Cobra Viper, thank you for your super chat. The source book for Red Dawn was so much better. I have not read that book. Maybe I'll have to look it up, The Cobra Viper. I'm always down for a good read to learn more about a movie. Thank you, John Harrison. The Pui. Top of the morning to you, Jeff. Top of the morning to you, too, the Pui. It's always good to see your shock trooper icon. Let's see. These are rolling in. Wow, okay. Lots of ones, lots of twos. I'll get to those in just a second. Grendel fan. Return of the No-Mams. Thank you, Grendel fan. What is it? Some Men Against Amazonian Masterdom or something like that is what No-Mam stands for on Married with Children. I love that show so much. Thank you, Darth Platypus. I've seen Fanboys a couple times. I like that movie. And yeah, why not a movie about kidnapping Harrison Ford? But there's a twist in this movie. I don't want to give away the twist because you got to read the book. It's trust me, it's a lot of fun. It puts the comic in comic book. You guys will enjoy the shit out of this. Trust me. The artwork will be good too. And I'm thinking about, the bigger we get, maybe I'll hire a couple professional cover artists too. We'll have a variant cover out there, something like that. Something that you would find at Comics Elite, something cool and exclusive. My opinion on the new Doctor Who is I'm probably not, I'm not going to watch it. And it's not because it's a woman. It's because I really stopped caring about it after David Tennant left. I stuck through the Matt Smith era, and I watched most of it. I watched up until Amy Pond and Rory got stuck in the 20s or the 30s, and I haven't watched an episode of Doctor Who since then. So I'm out of Doctor Who. Do I think the female Doctor Who is a good idea? Yeah, because it's going to tear the franchise apart and show you that SJW ideals don't make money. Secondly, I just don't care anymore. Let's be honest. I just don't care. We got an OH. I'll finish out with IO. Thank you. Insanity Methods. I took film in college, and the production to get the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider movie was super shady. It makes for an interesting read. Well, Insanity Methods, if you have any information on that, either our Facebook page or worldclassbs@mail.com is a great way to contact me, because I love to read behind-the-scenes stuff of movies, actually more than watching half of these movies. There was a point in my life where I watched Star Wars Empire of Dreams more often than I'd watch Star Wars. I just love behind-the-scenes information. I love knowing how a movie was made, why it was made this way, little tips and tricks, editing things here and there. It's all interesting to me. So if you could send that my way, Insanity Method, somehow, I would love to read that. And we'll talk about it on the show. Alex Mote, or Mote, I apologize for butchering that. The 80s were a great time for movies. Low-budget campy flicks with little expectation of financial return took risks to give us many timeless gems. Alex, I think that's a good way to remember the 80s entertainment in general. There were tons of risks taken in the 80s, and we had tons of rewards. Look at Gremlins. Yes, Gremlins had a production budget in Spielberg, but that was a risk. Making a kids movie, something crazy like that around Christmas, Gremlins is great. All kinds of, honestly, if I were to take a list of the best 80s flicks and a list of the best from any other decade, the 80s would have the most, pound for pound, have the most quality films. Yeah, you don't have the Godfather movies, but you got the Indiana Jones trilogy. You got 2 Star Wars flicks. You got Back to the Future. You got the best comedies of all time. When Chevy Chase was still funny, when Bill Murray still had had hair. When Dan Aykroyd was kind of thin. Like, you had great comedies. People didn't care about political correctness. There were things that people did that were funny. You had movies. You had great sci-fi movies. You had great sword and sorcery flicks. I don't even like those types of movies. So I'm with you 100%. The 80s will be remembered as the decade of timeless gems, and the music was great, and the video games were damn good too, and the comics were great. What was it about that decade that you had all this great content being produced? I think it could come from the fact that people that consumed older entertainment grew up to make it their own. And they made their own versions, and they were inspired by that old stuff. Now we have a generation of movie makers who just grew up and just remake that old shit with no input of their own. A shot-for-shot remake of Psycho in the 90s, that's a terrible idea. A remake of Ghostbusters, no matter what gender you put in the role, that's a dumb idea too. The magic is in the casting, and the new cast didn't have that magic. And you had your Cannon films, your Golden Globus guys, like, they made some shit that sucked. But a cheesy Chuck Norris flick or Bloodsport with Van Damme holds up way better than shit that came out more recently. Like King Arthur, anyone? No one talks about that movie. But everybody remembers Bloodsport or the numerous Chuck Norris Invasion USA. Come on. Even Rambo. Now, Rambo's a good example of cheesy and serious. Like, First Blood is a very serious film, but I love it. Then you get to Rambo 2 and 3, and it's a little campier, but it's crazy balls-to-the-wall fun and action. And that's why I respected Rambo from 2008 or 2009, because they went back to that. There's a time and place for all this type of stuff. I guess the time was the 80s, but we could use a little bit of balls-out action like that. The one ball that J.J. Abrams has, according to Jeremy, let's put that on display, guys, and make something awesome. Okay, Okay, now I'm at the Terminator stuff. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. It's mostly Terminator 2. Mercutio really likes Terminator 1. People are talking about The Thing. I love The Thing, too. Grendel Fan 84. Good morning from Comics Elite. Marry the Children, The Revenge of the No-Mams. Do you want to make that a comic, Grendel Fan? Like, I'll draw it. We'll get the rights together. We'll get Ethan to do some covers and stuff. And we'll make a Married with Children comic book, The Revenge of the No-Mams. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm caught up on all these because I don't like, let's see. I hate ignoring people. That makes me feel really shitty. Sith Kryptonian. I was born in 95, and I feel I was born 20 years too late. Thanks again for the channel shout-out yesterday, Jeff. No problem, Sith Kryptonian. I also made sure that you're in our Facebook group now. So, folks, if you want to help support YouTube channels, and I know you do, join the Sith Kryptonian channel. You were born July 2nd, 1997. Isn't that Judgment Day? The High Reclusa Archimaldus. Take it easy, Jeff. I hope you heard me say it back to you, High Reclusa Archimaldus. You take it easy, too. And I hope you guys are back tonight for our Star Wars Acceleration thing. Get a Harrison World Class Bullshitter t-shirt. Don't worry, guys. The t-shirt designs, I'm not just telling you this and hoping one day you'll see them. I've been working on a bunch of them, and they're really cool. I can't share them yet because once you see it, you want to get it instantly, and we're not ready for that part. But trust me, you're going to be so impressed with the World Class Bullshitters shirts. And it's not just going to say World Class Bullshitters. There are like 12 designs already. I got to be careful. I think I'm going a little overboard. Cesario Japan, thank you for your super chat. No, ma'am. National Organization Against Amazonian Masterhood. I had the shirt till I lost it or accidentally donated it. Don't know which one I did. Well, Cesario Japan, thank you so much for that. Now I remember what it is. Wasn't his friend's name like, okay, the dog's name was Buck, but he had that black friend. What was his name? Like Duke or Butch? I liked that guy with the flat top and the mustache. Married with Children was so good. Maybe I'll get Joel and Brian Lape on the channel, the old guys, and we'll watch Married with Children and we'll talk about shit they won't or can't do on TV today. And we'll collectively cry a little bit, but at least we'll be able to talk about what once was. Oh, the BBC co-financed the Tomb Raider movie. I did not know that. Do I read Cinefix? I used to watch the channel. Can I do an It 2017 commentary? Guys, if you like horror and stuff, make sure that you stick around in October because October is the month. It's inventory time at Statler Toyota, Back to the Future reference, but it's also going to be Schlocktoberfest one last time. We're going to attempt to do it better than last year, but not as crazy as the first year because 31 days of videos like that, no, never again. But there's going to be commentaries, live streams, roundtables, all centered around my favorite holiday, Halloween. And then we're going to be together in October, so we'll do a live stream together on camera, horror-themed or something like that. So it is going to happen. Don't worry. It's already on our list. I went out and purchased the Pennywise NECA figure because that's how much I love that movie. Thank you, Ken, Jack, Ben. Yeah, I am a curmudgeon. Get off my lawn. Lots of good morning still. Oh, Fletch. Love Fletch. Buckaroo Banzai. You know, Rugis, I finally saw it and I wasn't a fan. I didn't hate the movie, but Buckaroo Banzai might be a movie that I need to watch again to try to get. Plus, I also watched it in 3 sittings, so maybe that was the problem. But I'll give it one more shot to be 100% fair. Jaron Ricewood, thank you for your super chat. I was just thinking, if episode 9 fails, the SJWs will of course blame the straight white men, but also, according to them, they're a tiny minority. What the fuck? Therein lies the SJW blame paradox. We've been talking about it for months, and there are so many people that watch this channel and Jeremy and Ethan that don't fit into the narrative of the small white men minority that the people in the media want to push. It's to let people know, hey, guys, everything's safe, everything's fine, nothing is fucked. That's not the case. So if episode 9 can fail, and I'm hoping it really just needs to be sending a message to those guys. If it fails, then I will be making videos every day saying, hey, remember that small, angry group of white man babies? Why did your movie fail? Because they're a vast majority of your fan base, or because people of every color dislike these fucking movies. Let's stop with the straw man arguments there, Hollywood. But thank you, Jaron Ricewig, for your super chat. I appreciate that. Just reading how people are talking about how they love the 80s. I love Bill Murray. I miss John. Yeah, John Candy is my number 3 celebrity I'd bring back from the grave. Number 1, Chris Farley. Number 2, Phil Hartman. Number 3, John Candy. Sven Sandstrom, thank you very much for your super chat. I'm an older listener. Trust me. Idiotic thinking is common to all age groups and generation classifications. Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. But the older generation isn't shaping entertainment for the future the way the crazy fringe minority are nowadays. Alien came out in 1979, for those wondering. But yes, Sven, I think the older listeners do understand, though, that, yeah, every generation has their crazies. But with the internet, the crazies now have a wider voice. And I think the people that disagree with them are quiet. And that's why certain things happen when, you have to actually go out and do something. When people have to speak with their wallets or vote or do whatever they got to do, the tides turn. The internet didn't represent that. And that's what I'm here to talk about, in terms of entertainment. Let's see. Invasion USA. People are glad I mentioned it. Wow, this is a fun episode. Oh, let's see. Who was that super chat from? Was that? Okay. Brandon Moist. Brandon, good morning. Missed High Council last night. Brandon Moist, you disappoint me, man. You missed the best episode. We had Mundane Matt on. We worked out our beef live on air. You got to hear Ethan rip him apart. You got to hear Jeremy rip him apart. And then I laid the situation to rest very calmly, very eloquently, and it's done. We will not be. We on World Class Bullshitters will not be bringing up Mundane Matt again. He got his moment in the sun. He was mentioned. He got to say his piece. I sat back and I listened for at least 15 minutes. So you missed a great episode, but thank you for being here on Good Morning Pop Culture, Brandon Moist. Maybe the 80s were great because of the climax of the Cold War. Who knows? But I feel like people were inspired by money over the ideology that they want to put in these movies. And that's why I say sometimes money isn't always the worst motivating factor. Oh, you want to make these Eddie Murphy movies because he's funny and these kind of jokes will reach the most people and make a bunch of money? Nothing wrong with that. Oh, you want to subvert people's expectations and ruin their entertainment and their lives? There's a problem with that. There's a problem with that. Shining commentary, Garrett, we can do that. All you guys need to... I would love to do all Stephen King and John Carpenter stuff for October, but there are other requests. And, like I said, we do what the fans want us to do because, we're your entertainment. So you guys have a voice. All you got to do is email us your Schlocktober requests. The closer we get. Once we get to September, you can request those things. Oh, Kenneth, they filmed it in your city, and they're getting ready to film it a second time. Tell me if you see any kind of spoilers or anything pop up, because that'd be kind of fun just to know. Even if I don't report them on the channel for legal reasons, it'd be nice to know and have some stuff. Sith Kryptonian, case in point, first off, thank you for super chat. Case in point, Jason Ward from Making Star Wars called my opinion invalid because I'm a white male. I'm Middle Eastern. Well, Sith Kryptonian, isn't Jason Ward a white male? Do white males hate themselves the most? Well, that's how the SJWs feel. All joking aside with that, though, it goes to show you, we got people from every part of the world that listen to our shows. From every walk of life, every color. Hell, World Class Bullshitters is only one white guy out of 4. So let's, that's why I don't think we get brought up in a lot of these hit pieces about angry white guys, because we don't fit their narrative of what they can make fun of and dismiss quickly and easily. Here on the channel, we're a group of guys with valid opinions and points, no matter what color we are. It really doesn't matter what color anyone is. If you dislike something and it's not based on malice or hatred, bring it to the table. I don't even care. If you have a good point, a good argument to make, I'll listen to it. I don't care what you look like. That's how I think most people should handle this. And Jason Ward from Making Star Wars, who are they to you, Sith Kryptonian? They're nobody. They treat you like shit. Just ignore them. Don't even worry about them. Your opinion's valid. You share it. You bring your voice to the table, and people will listen and people will find you. It's as simple as that. Don't ever let somebody like Jason Ward from making Star Wars discourage you from doing what you do. And if anything, make it known that you're Middle Eastern to make the guy feel embarrassed, because that'll be able to kill his argument. Like when people say, "Oh, you're just an angry white guy," what the fuck? Like, seriously, people, look at the icon of the show. Insanity Methods, thank you for your super chat. Just emailed the article on Tomb Raider on the Tomb Raider thing. Well, thank you very much, Insanity Methods. I'll be checking that out as soon as I go off air, and I'll read it. And if you remind me tomorrow, I will talk about it on the show. Maybe I'll find some other movies that have shady production. That could be fun. Press F if you would listen to a show like that. King Eric, was it the Blade comic email? I've been dealing with something, well, nothing bad personal. I just had to do some stuff before High Council, and then the High Council takes up a lot of time. I should live stream Groundhog's Day every day for a week. I might actually do that next year as a joke. The NVSK says Terminator, Predator, and Aliens, best of the 80s. All fantastic films. All fantastic films. I don't know, I'd give everyone a 10 out of 10. Predator, for me, is a 10 out of 10. Predator is my favorite film you listed. I need to watch Aliens again to really form an opinion. I've seen it twice, and I liked it both times, but I really like the Terminator. So I have to sit down and determine what I like more. But Predator is the best on that one. But for me, the best of the 80s would be Back to the Future, Die Hard, and Beverly Hills Cop. And by the way, last week during the High Council, I was on eBay and I picked up a couple Beverly Hills Cop retro things. I picked up a movie poster. No, I didn't pick up a movie poster. I picked up a record store promotional poster for the soundtrack. That's kind of cool. That was mint condition. I got a VHS display. I got just a couple small things. Nothing was more than $7. But when I eventually get out of this terrible neighborhood and move into a better setup and surroundings, I'm going to have a Beverly Hills Cop room in my house. That just goes to show you how much I love that goddamn movie so much. And Dion and I will be getting together this year to do Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2, and 3 as a live stream. We can talk about comedies, the 80s. You guys know how it goes. When we do a live watch party, we always present it as what it's like to watch a movie with us that we've seen multiple times. We're going to talk about the movie, but we're also going to have fun and talk about everything related to the movie. The actors, the cast, blah, 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 all that shit. Actors are the cast. But the NVSK, I like your choice a lot. And we should do commentaries and watch parties for all those movies. Zaire, thank you for your super chat. I'm working on a rewrite of Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Would you be interested in checking it out when done? We could check it out. That's something you could show us that we could see. Not opposed to it, man. You know how to contact us. The only thing we say is when you guys have like pitches for ideas about other things, it's called unsolicited material, so we can't take it in case we make something similar. And we don't want to be, it's not that we're saying anybody would accuse us, but that's how you protect yourself from people, saying it's plagiarized. But if you're, rewriting Episode 8 or rewriting something that we're going to never try to attempt to do or touch, completely fine. So all that stuff is cool with me. Agent Carter, good morning to you. I love your show. Haley Atwell. Lots of Fs. Okay. Lots of Fs. Cool. Yeko say, make t-shirts great again. # no ma'am. We'll be making t-shirts great again. I just hope you guys can determine which ones you like. And we're going to be offering a perk. If you wear one of our world-class bullshitter shirts to a convention, and take a picture of you at the show and tweet it to us, not only will you get a shout out, not only will you get to have your picture appear on the show, I'll be sending you a free gift in the mail. So there's going to be a world-class bullshitters fan club. Just putting it out there, guys. Count Dukem Nukem. Ever seen the Terminator Extended Edition fan edit? If so, thoughts. It reinserts the deleted scenes into the Blu-ray version. I've never seen the Terminator Extended Edition fan edit. I've seen all the cuts of Terminator 2, but I've never seen anything except the original theatrical cut of Terminator 1. And I don't know any of the deleted scenes. So I'll have to check that out, Count Dukem Nukem. Like I've said, I've been really, really, really wanting to watch the first Terminator. I've been listening to the theme song every day for some reason. It just keeps me in the mood to work. So I'll have to find a way to watch that. And if I do, I will let you guys know what I think of it. Laura, Ryan stole my fan fiction story, says, I hate conflict. I dropped from High Council because of Matt. I wish you would have listened to the after part, Laura. Or maybe you did come back. Because the show, we brought Cecil in and we tore the house down at the end. The ending was the best part of the show. We ended the Matt thing amicably, and we moved on and had a great finale. So, Laura, if you want to listen to it post Matt, we don't spend 2 hours or an hour just ripping him apart after he left. We kind of just brush him aside really quickly. Cobra Viper, thank you for your super chat. Mega Force, the best movie from the 1980s. I don't know about that, but I do love the old comic book ads for it. So it looks like we're finally caught up on the super chats. I just read, may I suggest a low-cut V-neck tee for the ladies? After all, I need patriotic motorboating. Oh my god. The NVSK, Brad Fidel for the win. Yes. Yes, Brad Fidel for the win, especially Terminator and Terminator 2. But Fright Night, let's not forget Fright Night, guys. Brad Fidel has basically left film composing. But Brad Fidel and Harold Faltermeyer and guys like that, the synth scores are my favorites. My favorite movie score of all time is Beverly Hills Cop. I'm not exaggerating. I listen to most of it every single day, mostly at the gym, but in the car too. I love to listen to that music. It's so cool. One of these days, I'll get drunk on one of our commentaries, and I'll bust out my keyboard, and I'll play you some excerpts from the Beverly Hills Cop score. I know most of them, if not all of them. I even bought the sheet music, and I'm like, I gotta play this. I just wanted something with Axel Foley on it. I have seen Christine. By the way, folks who've missed the first hour, don't feel bad. We actually haven't even been able to get to the second topic that I prepared an entire show around. We'll get to that in 3 minutes. We'll start that at 9:05. So if you guys got to go get some coffee or take a quick break, we're going to talk about the Venom trailer. And I actually got the information about the characters and screenshots and stuff for you guys. So, you know, it's like a presentation, but more fun. A duet with Ethan on keyboard. Yeah, I don't write my own music, but I do have a little repertoire of songs that I enjoy playing. When we go to Star Wars Celebration, we're obviously going to all meet up after the shows pretty much every day so we can hang out. And I think we have a bar lined up. I'll be getting in contact with that guy again to make sure everything's locked down. But we'll go somewhere with a piano. We'll have some drinks. Ethan will play the Butter song. I'll play some Beverly Hills Cop. We'll just have a fun time. I can't wait. Oh, yeah, Ryan Johnson, boat builder story time. We're going to get to that. Don't worry. I want to cover the Venom thing because it's a little shorter, and then we'll do Ryan Johnson's boat time to close it out. Don't worry. Thank you, Dark Star Huxley. I appreciate that. So, guys, press F if you saw the Venom trailer, and then obviously you can tell me what you thought of it. So, let's talk about Venom. There we go. There's a picture of Venom. Yeah, Carpenter was on fire in the 80s. I can't praise him enough. Okay. F. So lots of people saw the Venom trailer. Now, my take on the Venom trailer was initially, I was like, man, fuck this movie. And then I saw the trailer, and I'm not excited by it, but I'm not full of anger and hatred, fanboy rage, if you will. So the voice is a little hokey. I get what they're trying to do with the We Are Venom thing. I like that. I get it. They're respecting the character in that way. But still, I would have picked a different, darker voice. Not like, We Are Venom. It just sounds like a kid trying to do Dr. Claw. Visually, it looks appealing enough. The CGI does need to be reworked, and it has been reworked since the first trailer, but I think they need one more pass because we live in an era where Infinity War makes Thanos look real, so we need the symbiote to match, guys. No matter how much the budget is, the spectacle of these movies have to match each other. You can't have one look great and one look like shit. You need it to match. Now, Tom Hardy's a good actor, so I know his performance won't be completely dog shit, but I'm not sold on everyone else. Michelle Williams is fine. I'm not really going to rip on her too much. But it does bother me that there's no Spider-Man. You're trying to create a Spider-Verse, Sony, without Spider-Man, the main draw. This is it. Venom will work in that regard because Venom's a popular character. But don't think for one moment that Silk or a Gwenpool movie, or not Gwenpool, Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen, or Miles Morales is going to work. Why did they make a Miles Morales movie with the main real Spider-Man in there? So people can watch. I highly doubt that a Miles Morales live-action flick on his own would draw in people because people like Spider-Man the way he is. Peter Parker, kid from Queens. Not Miles Morales, not a nerdy kid from Queens. So those are my stances on the Spider-Verse thing. The trailer was okay. That's all I can really say, guys. That's all I can really get is real quick, Count Dukem Nukem says for a super chat, highly recommend Terminator timeline accurately explained for fans of the saga. Doesn't make judgments about the films, just ties them together. Well, let me write that down because I will Terminator mode, guys. Let's see. Timeline accurately explained. Okay, I wrote that down. I'm going to make sure I check that out. And then we have another super chat from Alex D. Says, I wouldn't be saying turd in my trailer. I wouldn't be saying turd in my trailer either. That part was kind of dumb. I hate how trailers nowadays try to throw in the humor at the end. That's like, guys, I get it. Okay, you want people to laugh. You're trying to copy all the Marvel trailers. But maybe, just maybe, you guys should do something original with your trailer. So speaking of originality, let's talk about this Venom trailer, the movie proper, what it's based off of. So from what I can glean from the trailer, it's based off of two storylines, Venom Lethal Protector and Venom Separation Anxiety. So Venom Lethal Protector, here's the storyline of that. Before the story begins, Venom makes an agreement with Spider-Man that they will leave each other alone on the condition that Venom commits no crimes. Venom then moves from New York City to San Francisco and takes up with a group of California mole people. Shortly thereafter, the father of one of Venom's victims seeks him out with a group of superpowered mercenaries to take revenge. Spider-Man, seeing misleading coverage of Venom on television, heads to San Francisco to confront him and instead winds up fighting alongside Venom against 5 new offspring of Venom, the symbiotes Scream, Phage, Riot, Lasher, and Agony. And we'll be talking about Riot in a moment. And then the comic book storyline Separation Anxiety, which was also a video game for the Super Nintendo. The plot revolves around Eddie Brock and the alien parasites that are now held at a very... Eddie Brock and the alien parasites are now held at a very distant location from one another. His 5 spawns, created by the Life Foundation, which is in the trailer, show up and bust Eddie out because they want him to teach them how to control their symbiotes. They also take Daily Bugle reporter Ken Ellis hostage. The Venom symbiote also breaks free and escapes. It travels from host to host, trying to find Eddie Brock and rebond with him. Meanwhile, Eddie and Ellis escape, and the other 5 symbiotes try to find him. Someone stabs and kills Agony. The others believe the murderer is Brock, and Phage conceives the others to find and kill him. Eventually, Eddie is found by the remaining Life Foundation symbiotes, holding the body of another dead symbiote. The remaining symbiotes capture Eddie, trying one last time to convince him to help them. But then it is revealed that Scream, one of the Life Foundation symbiotes, is actually the murderer, having used a sonic knife to pierce the symbiote and kill the host. She then announces that all symbiotes are evil, and it makes the humans who bond with them evil and intends to kill Eddie. She also reveals plans to track down and ultimately kill Carnage, but Brock's symbiote finds him in time, and the two rebond as Venom. Then easily beats Scream, then she is arrested. Venom escapes before he's recaptured, having doubts in his mind about being Venom. So there you go. There's the plot of the movie. There is basically the whole plot of what you're going to see this October. Man, that's our 4th superhero movie this year. Black Panther, Avengers, Ant-Man, and now Venom. Stacked year, I guess. Front-loaded. Grendelfan84, thank you for your super chat. Have you had a chance to check out our new exclusive cover with Punisher and Venom? I did, Grendelfan. I follow Comics Elite on Facebook, and I saw, I think there were 3 variants you guys were talking about. Like, one was Punisher with Spider-Man in his sights, and the other one was Carnage or something. I saw those. So that's the plot of both Separation Anxiety and the Venom Lethal Protectors. And here's the cover. I had these actually pulled up because, like I said, I was like, hey, guys, we're going to talk about Venom. I love Spider-Man. One of these days, we'll do an all Spider-Man episode, and you guys can tell me your favorite stories or how you're introduced to the character. But there are the 5 symbiotes right there. And there's Eddie Brock drawn with his mullet, just like they had in the 90s. Yeah, I know. It was a rough time. I wouldn't say the artwork is that great. Midnight Cherry TV's back. Well, thank you, Midnight Cherry TV, for sticking with us. Let's see. What else we have? So back to this, though. The symbiotes in the movie, we talked about those. Screen Rant had an article. Nothing real exciting. But let's talk about the villain. The one that we've seen in the trailer that people keep mistaking for Carnage. So his name... Well, here's a picture of him, first off. There's all the symbiotes for you. Now, this gray guy that looks like an unfinished Venom drawing is apparently what we're getting in the movie. Didn't Riot die in the comics? Oh my god, I don't think I've ever read the Venom offshoots. I was just a Spider-Man guy hardcore. Like, that's the character I stuck with. But let's see. Riot. So it says Riot. Heidi Sladkin is a member of the Skrull Kill Crew. Wait, this is not the right thing. You know, even sometimes Wikipedia is wrong. A list of Marvel comics with R. Okay, anyway. We'll go to a different wiki for that. So Riot is Kilntar from Earth 616. And you know what? This movie, much like the character, just seems kind of boring and dumb. That's all I'm going to say about that. DeMille Jr., thank you very much. Man buns are the mullets of the 21st century. True. You don't trust anyone with a mullet or a man bun. You just question their existence and ask the question, why? Liam, Akashic Soldier, says, yellow symbiote in tube 2, so probably all of them. This is a case where this is a one-shot deal with Venom. They have to put all this shit in one movie because they're not guaranteed to get another movie. If this movie flops, you'll never see another Venom flick. You'll see Venom eventually pop up in Spider-Man. But this is Avi Arad and everybody over at Sony trying to exert their power and the contract loopholes and say, hey, guys, we may not have Spider-Man, but damn it, we got Venom, who's just as popular. But remember Spider-Man 3? I remember Spider-Man 3. I saw that shit on opening day. I left school early to go see it. I saw it the next day. Sorry, I saw it that following Saturday, and I saw it one more time the following week. Yes, it took me a while to realize that Spider-Man 3 was a terrible, terrible movie. Thank you, Gerhard. Your dismantling of Matt has now made me a patron. Well, thank you very much for enjoying that. I appreciate that. Oh, wow. Thank you very much. That was a very generous one. You're not going to regret it. Tomorrow night, you're going to get an extra bonus episode of World Class Bullshitters. And I'm trying to work on this video I've been dying to make called Beverly Hills Cop, the Forgotten Blockbuster. And I just really want to make that for you guys over there on Patreon. That's my next step, and the goal is to do like exclusive videos over there and give you guys a reason to be on there. Hated Spider-Man 3. A lot of people are talking about how they don't like Spider-Man 3. I don't like it anymore, but I will say this, that Spider-Man 3 has a moment that I call the shit the bed moment. Some movies are just bad from the beginning. Some movies have the shit the bed moment very early on, like The Last Jedi. But some movies like Spider-Man 3, at least to me, the shit the bed moment isn't in the beginning. And there are moments of greatness before and after the shit the bed moment. But the shit the bed moment, which I've said 5 times now, ruins the movie for me. And Spider-Man 3's is probably when Spider-Man combs his hair over his eye and then it gets stupid. I'm not going to defend that stuff. That will never be said on this channel. Oh, Spider-Man 3 is truly a great film. Spider-Man 3 could have been edited to be better, and Spider-Man 3 should have been great. In many ways, it's the most disappointing superhero movie ever. Not even the worst, just the most disappointing, because what superhero franchise went from that great with number 2 to that terrible with number 3? I'll wait. Seriously, if you love The Dark Knight and consider it the best, well, The Dark Knight Rises isn't that terrible. Batman Forever wasn't that great for it to fall to Batman and Robin levels. To me, the Batman Tim Burton original series started, it was just a decline all the way down. Batman, Returns, Forever, Robin, the floor. Lycan645, thank you for your super chat. Hey, Jeff, any chance of reaching out to Arc Warhammer for High Council? Guys, we can attempt to get anybody on the show that you guys request. I am open to all ideas, all suggestions. All I ask Lycan645 is that you email us at worldclassbs@mail.com. And in the subject line, you just say High Council recommendations. That'd be the easiest way for me to keep everything on record. Because yes, even though I write stuff down, like the Terminator timeline accurately explained, as well as other suggestions like this Valhalla comic, but it's spelled VA11. I take all suggestions, I write them down, but sometimes they're hard to keep track of because, you accidentally throw stuff away. So an email would be the best way to ask me or recommend things like that. And I will talk to the other guys. We definitely have one more week of no guests. The Mundane Matt thing was a one-off, and we made it happen, and it was fun and memorable. But just shoot me an email, and if we can't get him on the High Council, maybe I'll just get him on here. I have spoken to Dishonored Wolf as well as Mauler, and we're going to make that happen. They're both interested in coming back to the channel, so I hope you guys have interesting questions for them. And like I said, I will continue to have guests on the channel all the time. All you guys got to do is request it. Blade Trilogy was ruined by the third movie, says Jijigify. To be honest, I don't consider Blade 2 as good as the first one. I know people get mad when I say that, like Dion. But I like the first one, the second one's okay, third one's bad. That, again, another steep decline. Eddie Max of Andor, thank you for your super chat. Superman 3 and 4. Steep decline, but I would also consider Superman 2 to 3 a very steep decline. I liked Richard Pryor. I almost said Richard Donner. I love Richard Donner. Richard Pryor also is one of the greatest stand-up comedians of all time. Love the dude to death. That movie's kind of dumb, though. It's very cheaply made, and it shows. That was one disadvantage about 1980s flicks. When you had a lot of international producers that they bought up really good franchises and they tried to do them on the cheap, it shows on screen. Masters of the Universe should not have been the failure that it was. Financially, creatively, artistically, all that stuff. He-Man was a huge property in the 80s. That movie should have been balls to the wall insanity. But what do? We don't go to Eternia. We go to Earth. Ugh. Midnight's Edge has not flaked out on coming on the channel. I emailed them again, and it usually takes a couple days because the Andre guy is in another country, different time zones. Nothing's been said behind the scenes towards each other badly. Like, the emails are very bland. They're like, hey, I look forward to working with you, blah, blah, blah. Just stuff like that. So there really is no behind the scenes drama with Midnight's Edge. I'm not trying to keep you from having fun and speculate and stuff like that. I'm just letting you know the truth. There's been 3 emails, one to me, one from him to me back, me to him to me, and then me back to him. And they're all just very basic. Grendel Fan 84, thank you for your super chat. Blade 2 was Del Toro's Batman film. That's a good way to look at it. Imagine Del Toro doing a Court of Owls Batman movie. That would be awesome. Most superhero movies shit the bed eventually over time. Not Spider-Man 2 or Mystery Men. Definitely not Mystery Men. Oh, I really want to watch that now. I just thought, was it Jeffrey Rush casting over Frankenstein with his little pinky? He just files it. He's ready to go. Insanity Methods, Lethal Weapon Watch Party when I can get Dion, because that's his favorite movie series, and you don't have a YouTube channel with your best friend and not let your best friend be on the shit that's his favorite. That's just a dick move. That'd be like if, I was on a YouTube channel with some friends and they're like, hey, we're going to do Star Wars without you or Back to the Future without you. Just not cool, man. So when I can get Dion to sit down, because Dion has a family and he just moved and stuff like that. So I have all the time in the world for the channel. The other guys have other stuff to do. So we'll make it happen sooner than later. I got the Blu-ray box set. We need to make it happen soon. Our email is worldclassbs@mail.com. Thebestmail.com. Richard Donner watch party on. Yes, we'll have a Donner party here on the channel. Midnight's Edge. I thought it was Midnight's Edging. That explains a lot. Yes. Great buddy cop movies. You're damn right. What's the Monster Squad like? It's like the Goonies meets It before. Was It written in 1986? Showing my signs I didn't know when the book was published. Point is, the Monster Squad is like the Goonies, slow cousin. Well, no, that's kind of a mean thing. Fine. The Goonies is like the cool kid who goes to private school and is Ferris Bueller. Monster Squad is like Marty McFly, equally cool, but doesn't have as much money back home to do cool shit. Midnight Cherry TV, I will check the spam folder as soon as we go off the air. But I like them both. Well, in the case of Marty McFly is better than Ferris Bueller. There, I said, if you got a problem, fight me. We'll debate it right now, August 1st, 2018. Monster Squad's fun. Wolfman's got nards. I'm waiting for the documentary to come out. I'm going to buy that, the Shout Factory documentary on the Monster Squad. It's really nice to go back and watch some 80s flicks. There's some shit they wouldn't put in movies nowadays, and it has nothing to do with SJW politics. It's just a little more extreme than you'd expect for a kid's movie. But I kind of like that aspect. When you're a kid and you watch something like that, I think you gravitate towards shit that makes you feel more adult. Grendel Fan 84, Monster Squad watch party. Let's do it. You got it, dude. I'll call you. We'll have you back on for that one. Oh, Monster Squad's on Hulu right now? Well, Jeff might be on Hulu right after this show. You've never seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Why? Why have you not seen it? How have you not seen it? We'll do a watch party. Well, make sure you watch before the watch party. You're hating the Daniel Craig Bond films, Trent. Oh. That's why you're the sixth bullshitter. Matt Deckard, now let's look at Mundane Matt was fairly polite when he was on. I handled the situation the way I handled it here on the channel. We're just going to let it go. He made his mistake by going after Ethan and Jeremy, and we put it to bed. There's no beef. We squashed the beef. And no, we're not going to lock them in an apartment and catch it on fire like they did in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So you guys do what you will. You subscribe, you unsubscribe, you do whatever you want to do on YouTube. That is your prerogative. But I'm just letting you know, the stamps of my channel, World Class Bullshitters, all of us, we're just going to let it go. There's really nothing else to say. That's all she wrote in terms of the Mundane Matt thing. Brian Lape, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I know, Lape, that you went to high school with Jesus, but don't shit on Ferris Bueller, man. They remade the Goonies. It's called Stranger Things. Yeah, you're not wrong on that one. You're not wrong on that one. It is a really fun movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Well, maybe we'll do some John Hughes stuff. Maybe in February. We don't do love drama stuff here on the channel, but maybe John Hughes movies are as close as we'll get to some romance. Grendel Fan 84, thank you for your super chat. The novelization of Ferris Bueller's Day Off answers a question that I had since I was a kid. What questions? And I didn't know there was a novelization. I need to check that out. There's a Halloween novelization that explains how Michael Myers can drive. Uncle Buck. Uncle Buck's a good movie. Rooney. Yeah. It's funny when you talk about a movie like Ferris Bueller, Back to the Future. Like, so many people love it. And it's so popular that each little part is everyone's favorite part. That's the sign of a truly great film. Star Wars has it. Indiana Jones, Beverly Hills Cop, Back to the Future. All those movies. They all have moments for people that everyone likes. I'll take Beverly Hills Cop out of that one. That's a personal favorite for me. I like small little shit. Most people are like Banana in the Tailpipe or The Laugh or the theme song. I get it. I'm going to remove that one. But those other movies I was talking about definitely have that kind of crossover appeal. Which is better, Trading Places or Coming to America? That is hard as shit. That is hard. They're both John Landis. They're both Eddie Murphy, and they're both funny as hell. Honestly, if you were to say on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rank them? I'd rank them both like a 9 or 10 out of 10. I genuinely love both of those movies. I'll go with Trading Places only because I own that on DVD, and I don't own Coming to America. So that'll be the one deciding factor right there. Lape is so old. He used to argue with Socrates, and who else? With Socrates. Yeah, Lape, you're old, dude. You're in the chat, too. How do you answer to King Eric the 15th? Grendel Fan 84, thank you for your super chat. It answers who Charlie Sheen's character is and his ties to Ferris, as well as where Ferris got his money for his day off. I'm gonna have to check that out. Maybe there's an article online that explains the difference. Maybe Cinefix will do a "What's the Difference" video with Clint Gage and that other guy who's not as charismatic. I'll talk about tasty hoots. Thank you, Grendel Fan, as always. And folks, it's Comics Elite. Check it out. The Cobra Viper. You're Abe Froman, the Sausage King of Chicago. I love that. That smarmy guy with the mullet is one of my favorite characters in the movie. I mean, obviously, I like Cameron and Ferris and Ed Rooney. I think Ed Rooney's my favorite character in the whole movie. But, man, Cameron's great. And I hate the fan theory that it's all in Cameron's head. I hate that fan theory with a goddamn passion. Kamikaze Johnson. Nothing But Trouble? Thoughts? One of my faves. Oh, my God. Nothing But Trouble is one of those movies that I wish I had never seen in my life. My uncle used to watch it. It's so weird. I haven't probably seen it in 15 years or so, but it's weird. That's all I can say. I don't remember it well enough to go into little details besides Dan Aykroyd's dong nose. American Trent, all those movies are fantastic. Coming to America is funnier, more Eddie Murphy. The only reason I went with Trading Places outside of the DVD is also there's a pre and post Beverly Hills Cop Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy before and including Beverly Hills Cop is a different beast because he hadn't had the giant success that he had with Beverly Hills Cop. I mean, Beverly Hills Cop beat Ghostbusters at the box office. Let's not forget that. That was the biggest movie of 1984 domestically. And it made so much money. The soundtrack sold millions of copies. It was really a big deal. Now, Eddie Murphy's decline in popularity has also played a factor into people forgetting about that movie, but that movie was a huge deal. After that, Eddie Murphy became a little more self-aware and wasn't as open to making certain types of jokes. Now, Coming to America had all those jokes, like Stu, your rent Stu, or motherfucker, and all that stuff. That was a great, great, great movie. But after Coming to America as well, you definitely have even more of a self-aware Eddie Murphy, and he kind of fell victim to his own hype. And that's where Eddie Murphy is today. Caesarea, Japan, frozen concentrated orange juice. My mom watched that with me. She's like, would you ever invest in that stuff? I said, no. Look what happened to the Dukes. And we had a good laugh. Midnight Cherry TV, thank you for your super chat. Most underrated 80s comedy, Once Bitten. Classic. I have a digital copy of that, thanks to Nick. We might be doing that on Schlocktoberfest this year, so pay close attention. That's Jim Carrey. That's fine if you didn't like the Ferris Bueller character. Not everyone does. I do love the commercial, though, from whatchamacallit, Domino's. Gerlach, did I forget to read your super chat? Because I just see you say I want my $2. So if I forgot, just let me know and I'll go pull up the other window. Twilight Zone, the movie, was a fun ride directed by John Landis. Well, remember, John Landis only directed the segment with Vic Morrow, who sadly died during the making of the film, which is a whole tragedy unto itself. You guys can look that up. It's gross and dark and disturbing. So I don't know if I want to talk about it here, but Vic Morrow and two small Asian actor children died because of a helicopter explosion. It's graphic and it's on YouTube, and he went to court and everything. So you guys should check that out. It's kind of a messed up situation, but Steven Spielberg directed part. I think Toby Hooper directed part. Each segment's directed by a different director. So let me know if you've seen that one. Yes, Mutter, Me Seeks, Mundane Matt was on the show. You have to listen and find out. Which celebrity do you think you sound most like? I say either Andy Dwyer from Parks and Rec or Scooter from the New Muppets. Hey, as long as I sound like someone you'll listen to, I don't care. I don't know what I think my voice sounds like, especially today when I'm congested because I slept under an air conditioner last night and I'm just kind of, but I don't know. I don't know what my voice sounds like to other people because I think your skull vibrates, so it sounds slightly deeper to yourself than it does other people. Grendelfan84 says, underrated, Better Off Dead. Is that the movie with what's-her-face, Phoebe Cates? No, that's... Oh, John Cusack. Okay. I saw this movie like years ago. It's on YouTube also. Maybe I'll watch. Curtis Armstrong. A relic of the 80s that no one seems to talk about anymore, but I like it. I like him a lot. Life Force, great 80s vampire film. Yeah, Matilda, what's-her-face. Mm-hmm. Yakase says, The Great Outdoors, Big Bear Chase Me. I love The Great Outdoors. I got that on DVD. It came in a 2-pack with Uncle Buck. And I watch The Great Outdoors quite regularly. That's not John Candy's best flick, but it's up there, man. That's a good movie. That is such a good movie. Yes, Lethal Weapon was a great Richard Donner's 80s flick. I prefer Lethal Weapon 2 myself, but all 4 are really solid. Oh, you were quoting off Better Off Dead when you said you want your $2. Okay, just checking. I'd buy that for $1, a RoboCop love. So, you know what? We might go a little long today because there's a couple things I wanted to talk about. Thank you for everyone who's sticking with us. Let's talk about our terrible comic book art for the day. So a listener sent this in. I had seen this years ago. It's the 40 worst Rob Liefeld drawings. Now, we're not going to do all 40 of the Rob Liefeld drawings, but I thought I'd show you a couple because we had so much fun yesterday with what we did. And by the way, Indie Defense, you sound like a Kevin Smith movie. Dante Hicks' relative, Jeff Hicks. True story, when I was in high school, I wrote an email to View Askew asking Kevin Smith to make his next Hicks character Jeff Hicks. But no, that never happened. But I have met the guy that played Dante, Brian O'Halloran. His autograph's actually on my wall. He was so nice. I went to a Horror Hound in 2011 here in Cincinnati, and he didn't have much of a line, one other person, but he was so nice and took a picture with me and all this shit. So Brian Christopher O'Halloran, good dude. Good dude. Okay, before we get into this is a good question. You had a gun to your head and had to have a series non-exist. Which would you pick? Die Hard, Beverly Hills Cop, or Lethal Weapon? I hate to say it, but Lethal Weapon would go. Even though I consider it such a great franchise, Die Hard and Beverly Hills Cop are 2 of my all-time favorite flicks. So I'm not gonna let those ones go away, no matter how much I love Dion as my friend. So, Meet the Feebles. I've seen Meet the Feebles. That's a weird-ass movie. That's Peter Jackson. All right, folks, so let's get into this fun little moment. The 40 worst Rob Liefeld drawings. So, here's a picture of Rob Liefeld. Now, before we get into this, Rob Liefeld seems like a genuinely nice dude, and I wish him nothing but the best. And I'm very happy that Deadpool has kind of made people forget about his legacy as an iffy artist at best. So good for you, Rob Liefeld. If that surely was you listening yesterday, thank you for your $10. I appreciate it. But let's have a little fun. Believe me, this isn't shit he hasn't heard before, so this should be a good laugh. So here's some bad Rob Liefeld art. Let's check this out together. Look at that, the curve in the spine, and then the weird shaped butt. This appeared in a real comic book, folks. If you ever want to be a comic book artist and you're worried that you're not good enough and it's going to keep you from following your dreams, well, remember Rob Liefeld existed and made millions of dollars to draw that. We have another one here, which I don't know what the hell is happening. Her rib cage is here, So her butt should be about here where my cursor is going. I'm not going to critique all these. We'll be here all day. We're just going to look at some of these things. These are considered the 40 worst Rob Liefeld drawings. I don't think this one's that bad. Cable? I don't know why this is considered that bad, but who knows? Okay, this Juggernaut one's weird. I own this comic book. X-Force number 3. There's a... Man, that Spider-Man looks rough. I think this is also the one where the book, if you turn it horizontally, it's all drawn like that. Here's Deathmate Red, Youngblood and Bloodshot crossover. That's something. This blood's for you. Oh, you get the pun? Oh, the 90s. Now, this one's kind of weird. Deadpool, there's a hand here. I guess Deadpool cut off this dude's hand. Or is it smoke? This is hard to follow. This isn't even just poor. It's the composition's bad. This guy's crotch looks like this girl at the gym. Then again, she's a girl. She also wears tights like that. But anyway, this is hard to follow. This one's decent because it's inked by somebody else. You can tell that is inked by someone from DC who knows what they were doing. But this is a character called Forearm. Get it? Because he has 4 arms. Aha. This bathtub shot is up. What the? Why are her legs so damn big? Like, okay, so her body, her hip should be about here. So the legs are proper. That means her knees are here. And usually your knee and your thigh are like... Anyway, her leg would be to here. That would make her so big, and her head is so tiny. Okay, goddamn. Cable and Deadpool. This cover isn't that bad. Not that great, but I wouldn't really rank this as one of the worst Rob Liefeld drawings. Now, you see how Deadpool used to look back in the day? The new Deadpool, the one that everybody knows and loves, the writing was different, the art style was different. Yes, Rob Liefeld gets creator credit, as well as, was it Fabian Nicienza? Or yeah, I think that's who else did it. But Deadpool's different. Jeff, Above You, well, that one's just for me. Above Me is a ceiling fan. Yay. This is weird to look at. Again, tiny feet, no feet. God, if we did a breakdown of the anatomy for all these pictures, it would take all day. Oh my God, some of these are just terrible. Grindlefan84, thank you for your super chat. Granted, this stuff is bad, but I'll still take Rob Liefeld stuff over 90% of the current art at Marvel. Yeah, there's a lot of bad artwork at Marvel. There's a lot of bad artwork at Marvel, so I guess I'll take that. And the funny thing is, some of Rob Liefeld's pencils were solid, but when they got inked, if it was by him or somebody else, they just kind of suffered. Like, I thought his work from DC when it was inked by someone else, was that Hawk and Dove or whatever he was working on, was okay. So I'm not going to shit on everything Rob Liefeld has ever done. Insanity Method says, check the Daredevil Machine Gun comic panel. Remind me. I'm going to write that down. DD Machine Gun panel. And I'll show that on tomorrow's terrible comic book art segment. We'll save that for tomorrow. We had another super chat pop up from, let's see, our good friend Anthony Mata. Thank you very much. Any inspired... Oh, okay. Well, I was getting ready to read it. Sorry, Anthony Mata. Feel free to send that back in. I will gladly read that on air. Some of the color work is great. Now, I didn't write this. This is just sent to me by a fan, and I thought I'll share it on air because this is something I read years ago, and I thought it would be good for a little bit of a laugh. I've seen the video of Rob Liefeld inking a comic book page while driving in his car. You see, stuff like that makes me realize that Rob Liefeld probably just isn't a bad dude at all. Probably a good dude. He seems like a lot of fun. Ethan Van Sciver backs him up. Because I asked him, is Rob Liefeld interesting or weird or mean or whatever? He says, no, he's a nice guy. So is Jim Lee. So I know Ethan's coming at it from a different standpoint, but, you know, they all seem like decent dudes. There's a certain kind of temperance with comic book artists, or temperament, excuse me, with comic book artists. And I'm not, you know, some of Rob Liefeld's art's bad, but overall he seems like a decent dude. Oh yeah, Jim Lee X-Men. I will buy every action figure based on Jim Lee X-Men. That is my childhood condensed down into just a few pieces of plastic, and it makes me so happy. So let me close out some of these tabs, and I guess we can close the show out with Ryan the Boatmaker. Press F if you wanted me to read Ryan the Boatmaker one more time. I will wait to see how many Fs pop up, because if you've heard it, I don't want you to leave. Will we see EVS's worst drawings? If somebody writes an article about it, why the hell not? No, I'm not even saying this because EVS is friends with me and the High Council. I've always liked his artwork. That's why when he agreed to be on the show, I was like, oh my God. I told my family. They don't know shit about this channel and this show. They don't care. But, well, a couple people do. My mom's very proud. And she tells everybody, oh, my son's on the internet and he's doing all this great stuff. And I'm like, yeah, Mom, got a lot of listeners. I'm very happy. So she's super proud. But some of the people in my family just don't get it. They're just like, what are you doing? They think I'm wasting my time. But I'm not. I'm spending my time entertaining people, and we're making a difference. So I'm happy with everything that's going on. But yeah, when Ethan was coming on, I called people that didn't even care. I was like, oh my God, I got a big DC comic book artist on, blah, blah, blah. He was interviewed for the Green Lantern Blu-ray. And they're like, wow, that's a big deal. And so they'll ask me about it. I'm like, yeah, he's now my friend. So that's kind of cool. Grendel Fan 84, thank you for your super chat. Check out the Image Comics documentary on Amazon Prime, Image Revolution. I've seen that documentary. I actually watched it on a bootleg website because I had to see it right away. And I also have Amazon Prime, so maybe I'll put it on to, balance out the way I watched it. But you should check out, Grendel Fan, if you have a chance, the 2000 AD documentary about 2000 AD comics. It's really cool, and you learn a lot about Judge Dredd. I love me some old black and white 70s comics. All right, so lots of Fs. Thank you, Benobi. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you to everybody who's been supportive. It makes it worth it, honestly. There are people that try to tear you down, but then there's way more people that build you up. And you just focus on the positives over the negatives. I don't look at the thumbs up to thumbs down ratio and get worried. I mean, I'm very happy that it's like 10-to-1 ratio most times in terms of positivity. But either way, I look at all the good stuff. I don't worry about the bad stuff. Judge Dredd versus G.I. Joe. Judge Dredd. Comics. Never read an old G.I. Joe comic. Sorry. So let me pull this up. It's going to take a quick moment to find it. Mahler messaged me. We'll respond back to him when we get off air. Ryan the Boat. Oh, shit. Where is it at? Give me a second. Oh, never mind. Subversive Jake. He was like, wow, Ryan the Boatmaker was featured on the High Council live stream. He told me thanks for the way I read it. He enjoyed it. Well, let me find the entire thing, Subversive Jake. And this will get read right now. I find it? Okay, I found it. Give me a second. Ryan the Boatmaker is now my new favorite thing in the world. Good morning, pop culture, and then Ryan the Boatmaker. Well, let's answer these two super chats, and we'll get to Ryan the Boatmaker. Grendel Fan 84, thank you very much. I did. It was very interesting seeing comics from the British perspective. I agree about the British perspective. Grendel Fan, also, if you have a chance, you should check out the Oliver Harper channel because they have a guy on there named Richard Jackson, and he's a big comic fan, and he's British. And he has different takes on Marvel, DC, and all this stuff, Star Wars. That's a really good channel that I recommend everyone watch. I would love to get the three of those guys on this channel and have just a discussion about Terminator and Alien and James Bond and Star Wars. It could be the greatest live stream in the history of all live streams. So if we all tweet them, Oliver Harper, Richard Jackson, and Duncan Casey, if enough people do it, they can make it happen. Because they're not the biggest channel in the world. They're like 40,000 subs more than me, which is a lot. Still, I consider if they have like 10 million, then I'd be like, oh, maybe that's too big of a get. Never worry about reaching too high. I'm into film. Again, thank you very much. I'm into film for the turkey suit. I have it here in my office. Been lurking and working. Good show this morning. Thank you very much. I'm into film. Like I said, I appreciate what you've done for the channel with the turkey suit, and you will enjoy the hell out of it when we make it happen. Ryan the Boatmaker. There we go, guys. So everyone give this a like. Make sure you follow Subversive Jake on Twitter. and find a way to help this guy turn Ryan the Boatmaker into an internet phenomenon that it deserves to be. Cobra Viper, thank you for your super chat. Never read G.I. Joe, unsub, joking. The line ended when you probably ended when you were 6. God, I feel old. If the G.I. Joe comic book ended in 1994, then yes, I was 6. One thing about G.I. Joe and Transformers, it really was a product of the 80s. In the 90s, there was Ninja Turtles and Batman, and then Power Rangers kind of just swept me away for years of the 1990s. So if you ever want to know what I was doing as a kid, that. By the way, I have been trying to reach out to get some Power Ranger people on the channel since that's doable. And if I can get the Green or White Ranger to appear on the channel, I'll show the pictures of me dressed up as the White Ranger when I was a kid. I wore that costume every day for a year. I even had a White Ranger birthday cake. So if you guys ever want to see little Jeff, who's not that little, dressed up in White Power Ranger costume, let's all contact Jason David Frank and make it happen. Swampy Turtle, I hope you had a good birthday, though, a couple weeks ago. Birthdays are special. Enjoy it. All right, guys, it's time for Ryan the Boatmaker. Let me take a quick sip of water, and we'll begin. Once upon a time, a boatmaker named Ryan was tasked to build a mighty boat. Ryan had made boats before, but this boat was being commissioned by one of the largest boat corporations in the world. It was going to be the biggest and grandest boat he ever made. Ryan quickly got to work on the plans for his incredible boat. Within a few hours, his first draft was complete. "This is perfect," exclaimed Ryan. "This is perfect," agreed Kathleen, head of a large boat corporation Ryan was working for. Ryan's first draft was approved. The huge crew was assembled to construct Ryan's boat. Ryan enjoyed the construction process as the crew did whatever he told them to do, and everyone worked hard to make his vision a reality. "It's going to be a work of subversive genius, Ryan," said Kathleen. "I know," said Ryan. Ryan was certain that his boat would be universally admired, groundbreaking, a masterpiece, and all of his friends and co-workers agreed. With one exception, a troublesome subordinate called Mark, who wouldn't stop talking about his fundamental disagreement with the project. Mark had been involved with the boat corporation for decades and was instrumental in the success of their most popular boats, all overseen by a highly skilled and innovative boatmaker called George. Ryan did not have any involvement with these previous successes. "Shut up, Mark," said Ryan to his troublesome subordinate. "Shut up, Mark," Ryan said to his troublesome subordinate. "I'm sorry," Ryan said, "Mark, but I've worked on many boats like this before, and there are fundamental problems with your design." Ryan thought this over for a moment before responding, "Shut up, Mark." After many months of hard work, construction on Ryan's boat was complete. Many of Ryan's friends were invited to the grand unveiling, and they all assured Ryan that this was the best boat of its kind ever to be made. Ryan earnestly agreed. "Everyone is going to love it," he said. The time finally arrived for the boat to set sail. As was customary, only the industry's most revered and respected boat critics were invited on board for the first few voyages. The critics wrote nothing but glowing reviews for Ryan's boat, exactly as they had been paid to do. The positive reviews, along with the boat's corporation's world-renowned reputation, set anticipation for Ryan's boat at a fever pitch as the public were finally granted access. Ryan eagerly awaited the praise he felt he deserved, but soon became clear something was wrong. "This boat is extremely unsteady and making me feel sick," said one passenger. "This boat isn't sailing in the right direction," said another. "This boat has got holes in it," exclaimed another. "This boat sucks," cried out another, and half the passengers agreed. The boat industry had never witnessed anything like it. At least half of the passengers complained bitterly about the quality and integrity of Ryan's boat. The remaining passengers fiercely defended it as great, a subversive work of art. It was the most divisive boat in history. Although inwardly incensed by the wave of criticism, Ryan calmly defended his creation. "The goal is never to divide or make people upset," he said, "but these conversations were going to happen at some point for the boat industry to grow, move forward, and stay vital. The best way for the boat industry to grow, move forward, and stay vital is to make strong boats that stay afloat," retorted the passengers as holes in the boat caused it to slow slowly fill with water. My mouth is dry, I'm sorry. I can explain why this isn't going to be a problem, said Ryan. Ryan spent considerable time explaining why the holes in his boat were not a problem. When that didn't work, Ryan's friends Pablo and Brian further explained why the holes were not a problem. When that didn't work, Ryan's friends JJ said the passengers were threatened by women. We have a problem with this boat because there are holes in it, reiterated the passengers. You're clearly all threatened by women, said JJ. What's your problem with women, asked Pablo. You're a hive of alt-right scum and villainy, said Brian. Man babies, said Ryan. The more the passengers complained about the structural flaws in Ryan's boat, the more Ryan and his friends insulted and belittled them. Rest assured, the most of these sinking dweebs are shouting into the void, said Ryan. Look at my passenger's tears mug, mocked Brian. Most confusing of all were the other passengers who insisted that Ryan's boat was the greatest boat of all time. Let your hatred of Ryan's boat die, they said. Kill it if you have to. But what about all the holes? This boat is going to sink. We can't see any holes. Ryan's boat made millions of dollars, so it must be great, said the pro-Ryan passengers. But we paid to sail on the boat before we knew it had holes in it, said the anti-Ryan passengers. We will never again sail on a boat made by this corporation, they added. A few months later, Kathleen's Boat Corporation made another huge boat, this one overseen by a different boat maker called Ron. Many passengers refused to sail on Ron's boat because of the holes in Ryan's boat, and because Ryan and his friends mocked and insulted them. Ron asked the passengers to give his boat a try, and even when they refused, he didn't insult them. Many suspected that Ron's boat had less structural problems than Ryan's, but a point needed to be made about Ron's boat and the corporation's first ever financial disaster. What financial disaster, said Ryan when passengers pointed out that his faulty boat had caused a financial disaster. It was nothing to do with Ryan's boat, said Ryan's friends. It's because of the new boats from rival boat corporations and because of boat fatigue. By now, at least half of the passengers had lost all faith in the boat corporation. Kathleen was fired. Ryan's future boat projects were canceled. The corporation's next huge boat, overseen by JJ, was another financial disaster. They had only themselves to blame. The end. Oh my God. I hope everyone enjoyed that. I love Ryan the Boatmaker so much. Cobra Viper says, hit F if you think Storytime with Jeff should be a regular thing on World Class Bullshitters. Thank you, Cobra Viper. I've actually considered finding a story to read every once in a while to spice up the show. I was thinking about writing a story once a month, but maybe if you guys find crazy stories that are, 5 to 10 minutes to read on air, we could do something like that. Audiobook by Jeff Hicks. Dick McJackass. You see my butter tribute on Twitter to Uncle E? Dick McJackass, I have not. If you could tag us in a response or something so I could check it out, because we do have Nick that runs the Twitter. So thank you for sending that out. FFF. Okay, storylines. Bravo. I laughed. I cried, but mostly laughed. I'm glad everyone seems to like Ryan the Boatmaker. When I get off air, you know what I'll do, guys, is I'll tweet Subversive Jake, and I will ask him if we can make a video adaptation of Ryan the Boatmaker here on World Class Bullshitters to debut Monday with music and sound effects and everything like that. I will talk to him personally. Ooh, maybe I'll see if Ivan Ortega can help. We can make this a possibility. We're going to do it. I'm going to contact him right after this, and that's what we'll do. Who should we tweet this to? Your discretion. I think everyone needs to see Ryan the Boatmaker. It's not harassment. It's not targeted anything. It's humor. It's satire. It's funny. It's what we need. Subversive Jake has made a fantastic story, comic, whatever you want to call it. I hope that this is like how The Last Jedi is remembered. Ryan the Boatmaker is perfect. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Get Jerry to narrate it in his Jar Jar voice. You know what we could do? We could, maybe we should get or I should get the other members of the High Council to do other people's voices. So I could get Jeremy to be Pablo Hidalgo and Uncle Ethan could be somebody else. That was awesome. That was awesome. Thank you guys. I'm glad you enjoyed my storytelling. Next time I'll be better hydrated, more properly hydrated, so I can not have my tongue stick to the roof of my mouth. I know what I'm reading my kids for story time tonight. Please do. If you have children, make sure you read them Ryan the Boatmaker each night so they learn about the cautionary tale of Disney Star Wars. Oh, yeah. Do it with music. Oh, I'm going to do music and sound effects and everything. We'll get those nice boat horns, and all that shit. And I'll even get some audio from the movie Titanic as the ship sinks. Count Dukem Nukem, get an animator to add motion to Subversive Jake's drawings. Now, remember, folks, this is all at the approval of Subversive Jake. I need to get this worked out as soon as possible so we can get it here on World Class Bullshitters. Because Subversive Jake, this is all his work. I can't take any credit. I know you guys can laugh at the reading, but at the end of the day, this is all his doing, and he deserves 110% of that. So if Subversive Jake ever hears this, I'd like to tell you, man, you've really made light of the entire situation, and I'm able to look back in a different way at the last, 8 months of my life, because this is just so fun. So let's see. Can we make this a book? We have publishers. It is all up to Subversive Jake. Again, this is his work. I just would like to make a video to call attention to it. Maybe he can publish it. That'd be kind of fun. Get Subversive Jake on the High Council. That's a possibility. That guy needs to talk about his work. Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this Disney port aboard this tiny ship. I was going to make a tiny Ryan Johnson joke, but I do love how his head is perfectly circular in this story. Oh, man. This is awesome. So, do you guys have anything else you'd like to ask me before we put this baby to bed? This has been another fantastic episode of Good Morning Pop Culture. We had the High Council last night, which was a 10 out of 10, and then this morning, we had a really strong Good Morning Pop Culture. I'll be humble about it. It was only like a 9 out of 10. Anthony Mata, thank you for your super chat. What I learned from Liefeld's art, it's important to understand anatomy and proportion to be a better artist. I agree 100% that it's very important for all that. Rob Liefeld's an okay storyteller. Storytelling as well as anatomy, it's all part of the art. There are people who are great artists that sometimes their art is hard to follow. And there are some people who are terrible artists, but their stories flow. That's why they get work. Like, I hate Humberto Ramos's artwork, but the storytelling is good enough, so it works. Thank you, Stone Loki. I appreciate that compliment. I liked it. American Trent 007, we already did bad comic book art. Did you miss the Rob Liefeld stuff? We showed about 4 to 5 of his terrible drawings. I'll come back tomorrow with the Daredevil gun panel and stuff like that. ETA on t-shirts. You mean like the store? Because if anyone's a patron, I've contacted you about your t-shirt sizes. Our friend Obi-Wan, I've already put his order in. And then our other listener who sent back a response a little later, I'm going to take care of that today. So if you're already a patron and the month has already rolled over, I'm going to be in contact with you about your t-shirt size. And that'll be coming a couple days. I don't print them yet, but when I do, it'll be a much quicker process. Grindle Fan 84, thank you for your super chat. Liefeld's best stuff is with Fabian. Oh, Nicienza, yeah. I gotta go back and read some of that old stuff. Maybe on the car ride up. Actually, no, on the car ride up to Horror Hound, I think I'm gonna do a live broadcast of Good Morning Pop Culture from the back seat. That'll be fun. Sarcasm. You're a Patreon. You're a patron after the show. Thank you very much to everyone who's joined or considered to join or has been a patron. I appreciate that. It lets us know that you love it, and we can do a little different stuff over on Patreon that we can't do here on YouTube because there's less restrictions. It's more relaxed. If you ever want to know us as people, we don't really lead secret lives. We talk about whatever, but we keep it on Patreon so YouTube doesn't get, Dion talked about doing a white woman. Oh my God. Well, on Patreon, that's not what we talk about normally, but it comes up over there more often. Buy 2 shirts, turn one upside down for the pants with poop hole. Maybe I do, Matt Deckard. You'll never know. You'll never know how I do Patreon. So, folks, thank you for tuning in to Good Morning Pop Culture. As you know, we talked about a lot of stuff. We did the Star Wars fans have all the power. We talked about the Venom trailer. We did our bad comic book art segment. And we also did story time with Jeff, Ryan the Boat Maker. So as soon as I get off the air, I'm going to be talking to Subversive Jake over on Twitter. We're going to make this video happen. We'll get everyone involved, and it's going to be great. So thank you to everyone who joined us this morning for Good Morning Pop Culture. I'll be back tonight. Don't forget, tonight is the Star Wars Expanded Universe Roundtable discussion. And if it's successful, I'll do more. We can do all kinds of stuff. If you guys show up for it, we'll make it happen. So the Star Wars Roundtable discussion is tonight here on World Class Bullshitters at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if that's hard for you to remember, it's 11 hours from now. So just set your clocks for 11 hours and make sure you're here on the channel. I'll be joined by guests, fans, experts of the EU, and I will be listening and learning alongside you guys. So, John Hoy, I will check that out. Benobi, I'll see you at the panel tonight. Peace out to everyone. I will have Cecil do the voice of the ship. Don't worry. I'm going to talk to everybody. This is going to be a group effort. We're going to make sure that Subversive Jake's story is seen by millions and millions of people. So thank you to everyone. Yes, Jaron Ricewig, I can't wait for tonight either. Thank you, Mutter Meat Seeks. And see you guys in just a few short hours.